So yeah, this girl basically grew up hanging out with this wizard, a full-on sage, and dove straight into the world of magic, and 10 years later, when she's 15, she's like, trust me, I've seen everything. But then plot twist, she's way off, locked in front of this guy, and all she can ask is, who are you? What's going on here? Because seriously, what's his deal? He's like, I'm Yakajisum, yes, I'm a mage, and the second she hears it, her eyes light up. All right, it's on. And then he starts hurling fireballs at him, one blazing shot after another. Boom, right on target. And this dude looks absolutely wrecked, like he's been burned to a crisp. Next scene somewhere else. Count with me, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 teams are kicking back together, Yakagi and Shun included. Shauna Reiji and Anu Mizuki, 2 names that hit like a spark. Turns out they got ripped straight into another world, right into the mission to bring down the Demon King. He looked around, no illusion at all, and just like that, Reiji explodes forward and smashes a pillar with one brutal punch. Bro's got straight up cheat codes, he just smashes the cement like it's nothing. Mizuki's like, I feel it too, like, maybe we're real heroes now. I wish there was a button that could just skip us straight to the last dungeon, if only it worked that simple. Yakogi goes, focus up, guys, and Mizuki's like, looks like we're about to fight something. Out of nowhere, sudden footsteps hit the air. Steps and Reiji goes, yo, I sense something. 2 mages burst onto the scene. I thought just one hero would show up, but now it looks like a whole squad is coming in. Probably got dragged along for the ride, while Mizuki was already digging into it, snapping, this is not good. At this pace, the extras could end up teaming with a demon and launching a full-on war on the hero. Yakuji's like, why is all this happening? And the girls go, we have no idea, but they're like, don't worry, we're not coming for Reiji. She doesn't hate him, if anything, she feels the exact opposite. Yakugi's all like, whoa, chill, I'm not the villain here, and he makes it sound 10 times more dramatic than it needs to be, saying he never cared for them in the first place. Then this girl suddenly bursts in, breathless, and apologizes for the whole interruption. She blurts out that she's the king's daughter, Titana Rude Estelle. Then the other girl steps in and introduces herself as Felminia, a court mage. The Yakagis think they're the ones who called those things into existence. They stare at him, and the mage shoots back a piercing look. Reiji jumps in to introduce himself and the crew, and Titana wastes no time. We need a favor. They're pushing them to take down the Demon King who's tearing up world peace. So yeah, here we go with that totally classic big bad to save the world start. Everybody's like, wait, seriously, they summoned us for this. And Yakagi's like, nope, and in the king's hall he goes, yeah, I'm not about to take on an entire army. The courts were stunned like, you're only saying that because you're safe, but Yakagi snapped, I'm not stepping in and getting wrecked. Reiji's like, you worried about me, don't worry, I've got you covered, and then Yakag hits back like, yeah, just think about it. They're pushing us to go head-to-head with the person who tore a whole country apart. The boy drops to apologize and the king snaps back, wait, Reiji's the real hero here. They spot elemental protection on him, while the rest are just along for the ride. And Yakag is pissed because Reiji keeps getting picked as the chosen one. The king leaned in and said, I'll see you at dinner, then we'll talk. But Reiji blurts, can we do this right now? And the MC shoots back, what is he even doing? And then where? But Reiji's like, trust me, and somehow Yakagi's still not buying it, so take. Going after a demon lord from another world and sparring with powers you don't even understand, that's a dumb move, straight up. Up north in Estelle sits a frozen icy kingdom, and just beyond Nocius lies the demon kingdom's border, where the northern fortress humans fought the Demon King for ages until 6 months ago, wave after wave slammed the capital and Nocius finally fell. Turns out demons didn't need humans, they hunted asterisk them, and only a tiny handful managed to escape that living nightmare. Basically, these demons stalk humans like bugs, they're brutally strong and they don't bother talking, they just come to hunt. And just like that, the Church of Salvation crowned a Demon King, Nakshatra, to lead them. Man, that's one heck of a mouthful. If they're just gonna do whatever they want, humanity's toast, plain and simple. And when the chaos explodes, every country scrambles to fix it, but they all faceplant. Now they're pinning everything on heroes from another world, and getting that to work is insanely hard. And yep, other monsters like titans are lurking too, while the MC freezes in terror, realizing this world is one misstep away from humanity's downfall. The old dude warns, right now, the Demon King's just chilling while the attacks rain down. But soon the army's going to smash the whole country and everyone else, the same way the Gnosis Empire got wiped out. Yaeki clocks the whole thing in an instant. She's trying to tug at his heartstrings and he sees right through it. And before long, the king summons the hero and demands to know, will he help them? Our boy's already convinced he'll slam the door shut, but then plot twist, he didn't fight it, he accepted. Then bam, he screams quest. He couldn't believe he said yes, because when it came down to it, he promised he'd go kill the monster that's trying to wipe the world out. Reiji claims it's all because of the Demon King, so why are so many people still walking straight into danger? And Yakagi leans in, fighting for every word, insisting they don't owe a thing to these people. Reiji swears it's the first time they've ever been here, but every single person's life in this world is tightly tied together. Obviously, none of that matters to the MC. He just smirks and asks the kid if he can really pull it off by himself, and the boy shrugs like it's no big deal. He doesn't know yet, but now he's got power, so maybe, just maybe, he can make it work. You'll never find out unless you try, because the ones before him saved the world, and Yakagi even says you can't predict how it all ends, while Reiji just refuses to look away from people who need help. If you don't feel like going, don't push yourself, because honestly, as long as he stays safe, he'll already be happy. So yeah, he's the one with the hero's power, and the moment the MC hears that, he just drops the fight on the spot. Face to face with the king, he leans in and blurts out, "I've got just one request." He flat out refuses to help crush the Demon King, then blurts out, "Can I get back to my world?" And the whole place freezes into stunned silence. And the king just bows his head and apologizes, because getting back to his world is impossible. And no matter what they've tried, they've never once been able to send someone back. Yakagi hears that and instantly snaps, because there's no magic on Earth that could pull off something like that. A little later, Mizuki asks the MC if he'll be okay, and Reiji tells her not to worry, because it's Yakagi, and he'll probably be back to normal by tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Blessed One paced in that room and promised he'd crack the code and find a way back home. A little later, every hero finally packed into one place, ready for whatever came next. And Titania promises she'll bring in the mages who'll train Rigi. That girl's name is Felminia. She claims she could be the youngest, but she's begging them to live up to her expectations and prove her right. Meanwhile, the boy was standing there, completely caught in the moment. She just glares at the balloons, then asks what's wrong. Seriously, that kid won't let a single thing slide. She shifts the topic and tells him he said where he comes from, there's no magic. Reiji fires back, "Yeah, because in my world, science is the real power." He couldn't find it anywhere in his real vocabulary. It only ever showed up in fantasy tales. And just like that, the girl snaps in shock. She can't believe a word of it, while the other man fires back, asking if she really thinks it's not rude to drag on their savior like that. Then Titania snaps that this is Rigi's very first time seeing magic, so it'd be awesome if someone could give him a simple, no-stress explanation. So she's convinced Felminia is the kingdom's greatest mage and the perfect pick for the job, so when she gets praised, that girl practically bursts with excitement. And the guy in the back suddenly cuts in like, "Nope, I've got to disagree." Because he's way more capable of teaching Rigi magic, and then the situation unfolds. Felminia fires back, asking if he's saying she's less than him when it comes to magic. Then the guy smirks and reminds her he's the Mage Guild professor, so he's got zero doubt in his own power, and since she's still young, she doesn't stand a chance. Felminia fires back that they'll have to test it, and the guy immediately swallows the challenge like it's nothing. Now they're about to find out who's truly superior in magic. The guy flings an earth spike into the ground and tells the hero it's pure magic, a skill that unleashes raw power through the motion of the magical elements that breathe life into this world. Staring at Earth, he realized he could pull the exact same move too. Felminia bluntly tells everyone the hero came from a world with zero magic, then challenges him. Does he really think he can learn elemental magic like that? He shot his hand up and launched a blazing fire spell, tossing it straight toward the mage. In that corner, the two were just kicking back, while Felmini preached about elemental power like it was everything. Power is the ultimate creation cheat code, spawn loads of insanely cool stuff, and if you can picture those tiny details clearly, you can tap straight into all of their power. All he has to do is let one thought spark, then that magical power erupts inside him. Right out of nowhere, a mage rockets to his feet and shouts, "This isn't over yet." Felminia lunges in to shield Reiji, and the dude, he doesn't even hesitate. He couldn't care less, he just slings that stone spear like a cannon shot. Right then, the girl snaps her flames back to life. Again, she slams the attack aside. Dang, that girl's got real skills, doesn't she? Just a little later, Reiji started laying out every single thing that went down to Yakuj, practically begging him to jump in too. But for him, there's absolutely no way. That idea gets shut down instantly. He demanded, "Did you really forget the scene you caused right in front of the king?" Right after that, Mizuki suddenly appears and goes, "Felminia's the teaching genius. She's the youngest mage in the whole court. And she's only 15, yet she already cracked the magic code, making her the court's blazing new star." Hearing this, the MCs all froze, like, how is a kid like her doing all that? And now everyone's wondering the same thing. Can Reiji pull off spells just as insane? Right then, the kid thrusts out his hand, and boom, the dude's already blasting a fire spell. Yakagi blurts in total shock that he's the hero, and Reiji fires back that he's even grabbing a sword and learning martial arts. Then Mizuki goes, "All right, afternoon training S about to kick off So Reggie blurts later and tells the MC, "Don't just stand there, at least take a stroll." After slipping out, the MC later snatches a stack of books. He's pumped now he can finally read all about the hero's summoning power. But yeah, just like I figured, those books are pretty much trash for useful info. So yeah, he has to go for a walk to dig deeper, and later on, everything starts to click. Later, the kids slunk through the halls, whispering that he still hasn't been caught. Then one citizen shot back, "So tell me, how can a place like this have security that weak?" Right then, Yagagi whips his head around, scanning everything like he's searching for the next move, and fast. Oops, looks like the kids blew it, and now he's trapped in a total mess. He tells everyone he's heading out to meet someone, then bam, he collides with a stranger and blurts out her name like he didn't see her coming. There's Felminia in front of him, staring him down and demanding to know what he's up to. Yakagi brushes it off, saying he was just taking a casual stroll, and she immediately snaps back that if that's really the plan, he'd better have someone tagging along. The MC thinks he just collided with the absolute worst person alive. Then she swings back later and promises she'll walk him straight to his room. She pivots the conversation and demands to know why he ditched the plan to take down the demon lord. He calls the hero his buddy, but still, he bails unlike the other girl, and right then the MC blurts that he just doesn't want to risk his life, so he backs out, and then he hears. Hearing that, Felminia's face snaps into a totally different expression. He's yelling that he's a total despicable dude, no joke, and you're telling me this is a free roast party? Meanwhile, he lets all his friends do the heavy lifting, so nah, he doesn't get to be the hero's buddy. Yagagi leans in and asks, "Don't you think it's weird asterisk to refuse something like this? They got yanked to some place they've never even heard of, then told to fight, and the sane move would have been to refuse, no questions asked." Felminia even asks if that's what they'd do, even though he was called the hero. But the MC doesn't care, he's got one job, trap people in this mess. Hearing that, Felminia nods and says she finally gets his point. But then she presses him hard. Does he really owe nothing to the hero and to Mizuki? Even without the power of hearing, he could have stepped in somehow, because the moment he heard the MCs, the whole crowd went, "Wait, what?" She'd been talking only about her ideals, but then she just kept going and the real moment hit hard. She's got this calm, cool vibe, she's just quietly locked in, thinking hard about her friends. Right after that, our hero blurts out an apology and the girl snaps back, fuming, "Were you even listening?" Yakagi tells her to cool it and stop yelling because their noise will annoy everyone nearby. Then it hits her, Felminia snaps into realization, blurts out an apology and swears she'll fix her attitude, and our boy shoots back, "So what are you gonna do then?" And then the girl drops to her knees and bows low. But he just doesn't understand. She didn't move her own body, so why is he interrogating the MC about it? Who just stood there, the girl? All the girls got tangled up in her clothes, and the MC. With no other option left, he pushes forward and tries to help. He yanks her free, then snatches a cloth too, to clean up in the nervous girl. Joel leans in and blurts, "So what are you doing?" Yakagi says she looked like she was barely hanging on, so he just stepped in and helped, because walking away would have been a crime with her pretty face left like that, so he tidied her up. Hearing that, Felminia's face instantly heats up and she starts to stammer, then suddenly, But she just shoots back, "I've got things to handle, no time to waste." After she points out where the MC's room is, she's gone in a flash, and while that's happening, Yagagi is convinced he's one step away from finding the exact room where they got summoned. Then that annoying girl pops back up again, promising she'll return and crush him with 100 times the embarrassment he threw her way. That kid's totally clueless, but he walks off anyway, leaving you thinking he's gonna keep hunting until he finds it. Felminia drifted through the castle halls with her face burning, terrified she'd let that person see her soft side. She couldn't stop replaying what the MC said, pretty, and it hit her like, wait, seriously? Has nobody ever complimented her before? Filminia thinks it's downright rude to leave Yakagi all alone with no one to guide him. So she decides she has to make things right. Then she hustles straight into the boy's room to apologize. But the second she arrives, he's already disappeared. Only a stack of books sits on his bed. Meanwhile, in the summoning room, the air crackled with tension. Our boy's over there going, "All right, I'm gonna test this little thing one more time." Elsewhere in the castle, where the walls held secrets and trouble was about to break loose, a soldier patrols the corridors, his doubts screaming, who would ever be dumb enough to try attacking the hero's crib? They're just standing there, confused. Why do they have to guard a hero who can square up against the knight's boss and go toe-to-toe? He slips into the next hall and blurts out, "Is anyone here?" He squinted at a few statues nearby. That's the summoning room, except the soldier already slipped in and checked it a few minutes ago. He figured something was sneaking in, but nope, this magical security tool would have flagged it instantly. As he slips out of Yakogi under that statue, I'm like, how in the world did that soldier not see him? The desperate boys just stood there like, man, that was close, because in their minds, the soldier would be gone by tomorrow anyway. Suddenly, the armor behind him starts falling apart, and Yakogi's like, wait, this was not here last time. As he inspects the gear, he realizes it drinks in the magic floating around, and the defense it offers. Honestly, it's pretty damn solid. Good news, this thing packs a punch, but not enough to actually kill. Yakagi yanks himself to his feet and declares, I have to fix this now. Then out of nowhere, it kicks into motion all by itself. The armor snaps back to normal, and Yakagi is convinced it all boils down to one thing. The magic circle sitting there in that summoning room. Wrecking the seal again. He can't shake it, the technique feels sketchy as hell. Those outer circles are for support and amplification, not a single one's there to protect him. To make it even worse, they're still stuck trying to finish that magic circle. He just stared at the circle, fuming inside, wondering how the heck he was ever going to find his way back home. A few minutes later, the lights dimmed and the whole crowd packed into the audience room. The king declares Yakagi and the hero are VIPs, no one lays a hand on them, and the whole room freezes. But the girl brings it up again, like she said earlier, telling everyone the MCs are acting seriously weird. He's always holed up in his room, and the second he steps out, he's snatching books like their life itself. While the king tells him, you can't go back, so now he's grinding to learn everything about this world. Then Filminia smirks and says he slipped into the summoning room like it was nothing, like the signs were basically handing him the way. Even with that boy insisting his world had zero magic, the truth still felt like it was hiding in plain sight. The day she met him, she realized he was using it on purpose too. So yeah, the MC clearly unleashed some power. And if they let him run wild, it could totally wreck the kingdom's dignity. If that's what they're thinking, then they'd better stop him, because they... But the king shrugs it off, saying it's fine as long as he doesn't stir up trouble in the kingdom. And right now the boy's been obsessing over history books and maps, so it's hardly a problem. The same vibe goes for that summoning room. But Filminia warns that letting him do whatever he wants could wreck the king's reputation, and the king just shrugs like, I don't care. He abruptly changed the subject and asked if she was obsessing over the MC, and she instantly turned bright red from embarrassment. For now, the girl is going to stop hounding our boy, at least for a little while. The king lets out a relieved breath now that this mess is finally over, then says, man, it must be brutal being a genius. Right then, a hooded stranger crashes in and demands a serious talk, straight up claiming it's all about Yakagi. And on the flip side, inside the summoning room. In the room, the girl freezes, something surprising hits her, and she can't believe her eyes. That armor's wrecked, and the hooded guys are all whispering that Yachiga's been sneaking around the castle, like he's up to something, and he might actually be planning to take a swing at the king. It's just a gut feeling, but the way he's stuck and can't snap back to his world screams that he's plotting something. All her anti-intruder gadgets got smashed to pieces, especially the ones guarding the king's favorite hangout spot. Filminia hears it and just blurts, no way, Yakagi really pulled all that off. So he kept it off the radar, quiet, secret, and out of the mage squad's sight. Because if that's the truth, she's not waiting around, she's taking care of it herself. She's been spilling way too much tea lately. He started handing out props for every bit of help he'd gotten. Right as she tries to walk out, she's shaking with disbelief. She can't believe he's the kind of guy who'd do that. He's probably plotting something against the king, but trust me, there's no way that plan's gonna work. Meanwhile, that hooded guy is just relaxed like he owns the place, until you realize he's the same dude Filminia ran into before, grinning as he says the seeds are already planted. A few days later, the main character, MC, is stalking through the castle halls, and Felminia kept a sharp eye on him as he strode right past the maid. She's convinced he's pulling some kind of wild magic trick right in front of her eyes. Then Felminia darts her eyes away for a split second, and just like that, poof, the boy vanishes. So she snaps her wind magic into action and hunts him down by scent. And before anyone can blink, he's already outside the castle like lightning. Truth is, he's just lounging in the royal sanctuary, and trust me, this is about to crash and burn hard. Looking back, it turns out our boy's fun hobby is literally chasing people. Yeah, it's not exactly harmless. Filmini's jaw drops as he realizes it, and he blurts out that she's been tailing him for a while. Then she presses him, "So what are you doing?" And he shrugs, saying he's just taking a stroll, wondering if he even dares to step out after dark, but she's not buying a word of it. So with 0 other plays left, Yagagi finally admits he showed up for the exact same reason. Right after that, Felminia muttered that she never thought he'd go this far, and she just wanted to end it peacefully. Yakoga is kicking himself like, I should have sorted this way sooner, then it would have been done in half the time. But come on, the night's just getting started, so he better go hunt for some fun. All the girls started freaking out, peppering him with questions like, do you know where we are? Because this is Shocky Paradise, the king's favorite spot. Yakoga's got this badass name, and then out of nowhere, Felminia gasps and looks up, because the towers are gone just like that. Our boys love the stuff they don't have, so they look the other way. Glancing left, Felmini spots the building, and his whole world goes sideways as he blurts, wait, what's happening? Then the main character just goes. He dropped a wild tech called Phantom Road. Basically, he forged a barrier, and boom, he trapped everything in a mirrored world. He messed up the numbers, stitched together places that have no business being here, and trust me, this gets messy fast. When she saw the girls freaking out over it, she had to wonder, was this some kind of magic? Because nothing she'd ever seen before could shake the world like this. But Yakoji's was like, nah, it's nothing, just a tiny barrier. But for Felminia, it's brand new, and the boys are freaking out like, wait, you really have to break it all down for him. Asking if those mages don't even know what a barrier is. If that's the case, then yeah, he's freaking up in this world. Still, he insists it's a whole other pocket of reality, something he forged with magic. And even if he did anything, nobody would ever hear a thing. Felminia's like, seriously, does he honestly think his magic level can carry him to victory? She's from the Estelle mage royalty, and she'll never let some cheap trickster steal the win from her. So if that's true, she'll crack open the flame of magic truth and show it to him. No hiding. He hurls a spell, and fire erupts everywhere. Whoa, she's cranking up the heat like crazy now. Next, our hero snaps his. His fingers twitch, and the attack just disappears. Seriously, how is this kid this damn strong? Both of them can't believe it, and Felminia blurts, why did my magic just vanish? The MCs totally thought that flame was gonna burn them to ashes. But it's regular fire, only now someone's shoved extra oxygen into the flames and turned up the danger. His flames carry 0 curses and 0 secret meaning, because if magic doesn't come with a badass backstory, it's just weak sauce. And if he's really her master, he'll drill her in the basics, so Felminia leans in and asks what's missing in her power. AMC, clearly annoyed, snaps that it's literally everything, because all she does is blast out flames nonstop. She's just standing there completely clueless, like she has no idea what's about to hit her. And just like that, Yakagi yanks a magic circle out of thin air, like she summoned it from nowhere. Felmini's just gone, how did you do that? Who the heck are you? But the MC just shrugs like, relax, I'm just a normal guy. Then he grabs the technique and twists it into an enchantment like it's nothing, because he's already plotting. Do I really have to start from 0 and explain it all again? What the heck is up with this world's magic anyway? He drew a magic circle, then unleashed the same kind of magic he'd used before. No way she can brush it off as fake. She watched him do it with her own eyes, right in front of her. If she can't stomach the truth, she won't survive as a mystery scholar, because in a fight, making magic simple is everything, and Felminia is all about that. We've got plenty of stuff that doesn't even need enchantments to get the job done. Yakagi stared at the magic circle, grilling them like, is this the top-tier stuff? Then she leaned in, admitting the big spells are a whole different league, so she had to ask, is it even impressive to you too? Then snap, this guy was suddenly ringed in a raging wind aura. Felmini just stands there, stunned speechless, because he pulled it off without a single word. Our hero, crushed to the bone, cranks up his. He cut his magic off, then declared he was done answering questions. Poor Felmini is just trying to get answers, because the guy ahead won't explain anything. She can't even tell what's going on. Compared to heroes or even the Demon King, these MCs are on a whole other level of power. way stronger than you can imagine. Oh, also, I'm Yakagi, a smart mage from modern Japan, hunting the unknown like it owes me answers, trying to crack the logic of this world. And yeah, you gotta admit, that makes me kind of a legend, right? Suddenly, Felmini snaps her fingers and hurls a blazing fire spell into the air. And the MC slams a magic circle down and shuts it down instantly. No panic, no sweat. But she's not finished, she blasts another fiery burst, and that's where the end finally hits. When the MC moves in, he shuts it down instantly. No sweat just like that, but the poor Yakagi is tossing all that magic around at once, and the poor girl's mind is completely blown like he's like, you lost because you couldn't pull off that cast, thought this was some comfy turn-based game. He reaches into the magic circle and yanks out a random summon, then boom, he literally brings a sword into existence. Then Felminia hurled a fistful of pebbles at him right as the moment turned, and Yakagi just carves right through them, smooth as butter. They were totally stunned. He's a mage, yet he can still swing a sword. He's like, what's the big deal? Like, close quarters combat isn't normal where I'm from too. He slams 3 magic circles onto the sword, then smirks like, long spells, so last season. A few minutes later, Felmini gets absolutely flattened on the ground, wiped out. And Yakuaga's like, nah, this isn't over, not by a long shot. Suddenly, the ground ripped with shaking, and Felminio Domini appears downward and spots a colossal magic circle blazing in the ground. Bro, this dude is straight up unhinged. And boom, up in the sky, there's an even bigger magic circle looming over everything. Yakagis slam their shields up with everything they've got, and then light starts blasting down like rain. After all that chaos, those poor girls got completely cut off, no chance at all. Yakagi jabs his sword forward and declares, I won, so what's the problem with that? But this poor girl just wants one answer, tell me if he's a monster, because with all that power, he still won't lift a finger to fight the Demon King. Our heroes already told you, yeah, numbers call the shots. You can be unstoppable, but you still can't muscle through a massive army, especially when you're wondering if they're not just battling the Demon King, but his soldiers too. There were a bajillion of them chanting, are you ready? As they lined up to clash with waves of foes. Fulminia perks up and demands, are you really saying this, still holding power like that? Because with magic like yours, there's no way they'd get wiped out. But the MCs stay totally calm, telling him, in my world, that's nowhere near half, and that their power comes down to raw numbers. Even so, he figured it out right away. This world's magic is totally old school. But honestly, he's not just worried, he hates seeing the odds stacked against humans. So yeah, this mage has to face what he did and own it in front of his crew. Hearing that, the girls were left completely speechless. Neil's just apologizing, and yeah, she folded way faster than I expected, right? She even calls on the goddess herself, and she raps with the MCs like, I'm a foreigner, and I honestly have zero idea what that's supposed to mean. That poor girl is begging for mercy with her whole heart. And the boy's suddenly like, whoa, maybe I came in way too rough, so he snatches the paper and tells her to sign it. Rule 1, lock in what happened, and Rule 2, keep his name off the radar. Easy, right? If she's cool with this, she keeps breathing, because Felminia already blabbed to the king about his magic skills. Her mind just exploded. She really thought she could take him on with zero backup plan. But hey, no big deal, she signs the contract, and suddenly it's like, wait, what's this? Yaki crushes the paper in her hands and blurts, whoa, what's going on? He tells her straight up, if she breaks that promise, it's lights out, she's done. Felminia panics, but Yakagis tells her to calm down, act normal, shut up, and don't draw attention. Hearing that, she bursts into tears, sobbing like her heart just cracked in two. The MC totally loses it, like completely. The boys just freeze there, eyes wide. Okay, what do we do now? He tells her to stick to her promise, swearing he'd feel awful if he had to end up offing someone he never needed to touch. Then he channels magic to soothe her, reminding her of the rules before it all spirals. A little later, somewhere else, Yakogi is panicking, convinced he's already running late. Staring at this world like, wait, what's really going on here? Remember the armored golem like, what's the point of unleashing a beast like that unless you're about to smash it to pieces? So he decides to start sleuthing, digging for answers like his life depends on it. Later on, inside the king's quarters, he drills Felminia about that guy, then demands to know if she's still watching his every move. But she's frantically scrambling for an excuse, because she absolutely can't spill the tea, right? Wait, the king goes, what's up? But she slams down on her knees. Then Yagagi storms in and declares he's here to handle business. The king apologized for the late night call, said it was just him now, then flipped the topic. So, Yakagi, what's with your outfit? Yakagi grinned and said, this is my world's uniform, one of the few things I still have. He also wanted to apologize for the chaos he caused, and the king straight up surprised him. It's cool, don't worry, there's nothing to forgive. He can't stop thinking about Falminia. He's dying to know exactly what Yakagi did to her. They lock eyes and the silence hits like a punch. And the MC swears she spilled nothing, yet the king clocks the truth anyway. She finally found out he was a mage and she seized the moment to shut him up. But now that she can't talk at all, he's stuck wondering how the king figured it out. The king insisted he'd asked her, and when she couldn't speak, she just clammed up, until finally he cracked what little of the puzzle was there to solve. Yagagi shoots back that she's still sticking to the contract, then clamps her mouth shut and keeps it all locked down. He demanded why the king was so damn worried, doing all this alone. Then the king snapped, "You could have ignored it, but if she died, he'd blame himself forever. No excuses, no mercy." Yakagi's eyes went wide as she blurted out, "Wait, would you really do that for me?" And the king declares she's vital, so he steps in, ready to guard her with his life. Do the boys go wide-eyed, insisting she'll be fine as long as she keeps her mouth shut? Especially since he doesn't want to hurt anyone unless he has to. Once everything was settled, the chat ended, but the king leaned in and admitted he knew nothing about Zilch, so as the summoner, he demanded to know exactly who Yakagi was and what his plans were. If there's anything he can do, he's all in to help. Then Yakagi quickly snaps back with an apology for being rude before, and honestly, he's lucky he got to meet the king, because now he'll spill everything he can. The king demands who he is, and Yakagi fires back, "I'm a mage just like a hungry scholar digging up hidden mysteries no one can explain." He must have heard from Ryuji and Mizuki that science runs everything in his world, but there's also a whole magic world out there, hidden from most people. Felminia might have seen him, so he decided to stay hidden. Then, while he was digging into his research, he hatched a scheme to grab her attention, but Felminia went and built something terrifying. An automaton dressed like lifeless armor lunged at him, and he had no choice. He smashed it to pieces. After all that, he decided she wasn't up for conversation, so he let it all out in his own way, blowing off steam after getting dragged into that world. Meanwhile, Filmino crouched in the shadows, and Yagagi told her to back off. He swore he wasn't going to bother her anymore. The girl bounced on her feet, cutting straight toward the king, screaming, "Ah." He asked when I figured it out, but for the kid it was instantly obvious, so both of us blurted sorry, and the MC snapped, "Don't mess around. If you're a mage, stay on your guard," and told her she'd better keep it sharp since she's part of the mage's court, and you could tell she was bursting with pride. A little later, somewhere across the castle, Rigi and Mizuki were just hanging out when Rigi suddenly froze. Felminia vanished out of thin air. Mizuki, wide-eyed, decided she wanted to learn more about magic, and right after that, the same mage from earlier strolled right past. He slammed the door shut, and right then, the second he stepped inside, he burst into wild, maniacal laughter. He finally said it, Fulminia had learned something new. And the boost hit her ego like a punch, because the king got absolutely roasted right in front of the princess's hero. He never imagined he'd outsmart that girl so effortlessly, and he still couldn't wrap his head around how the hero's buddy could tangle with the king's security. So yeah, she's getting tossed out of the court, and he can't help thinking, what's the king gonna feel about dumping one of his favorite people? Suddenly, our hero popped up like a firework, grinning and saying he was loving every second, while the kid was. Moody slumped in the chair, eyes locked on you, demanding to know what came next, because he had more to spill and he wouldn't shut up. At that moment, the mage snapped, Yakagi, and confirmed, yeah, that's his name. He leaned in and asked, so, was that your first chat? The guy was completely baffled and blurted, how did you even find me here? And Yakagi just grinned, saying it was a total cakewalk. He pulled off a magic trick, just like the one Felminia showed. Then he leaned in, introduced himself all over again, and said, my name is. He promised to set everything straight with his modern magic, and wow, this guy's got serious skills, doesn't he? He swore he had the whole thing under control, but his big mouth already spilled the clues, so now he's gonna run his plan and use that excuse to clean up the mess he made. And he demanded the guy quit playing dumb, because the king's already heard everything. He nearly snatched him up before asking, so you're the one who built that armor golem? But there's no mistaking it, he's an obvious mage pretending clueless, acting like he has no idea what he's talking about. Takagi snapped that it was his master who told him everything, and the mage, still reeling, blurts out, how did you know all of that? And our hero snapped again that the king already knew everything. Trying to kill him is pointless and only brings a headache, but sure enough, this was his first revenge stunt. The moment the dude peeped in, he asked what he wanted to do to the guy, yet the MC just clammed up. Because that belongs to someone else. Felminia burst onto the scene. shot him a brutal glare and said she couldn't believe he actually pulled all of it off. The MC just stood there, then announced she was his special guest, like the world flipped on its head, right? Fulminia seethed and snapped that anyone who hurts others for no reason, just out of envy, doesn't deserve the Mage's Court title. Suddenly, the guy exploded into a sprint, and the whole crew tore after him. As the MC sprinted, he suddenly felt something was seriously wrong, and the girl blurted out that she had to apologize to him. Even if it was only a little, she still managed to stir up trouble. Then Yakagi stepped in and told her not to worry, saying he'd already sorted out the misunderstanding, and that it was his own fault for wandering around, hunting for his way home. And remember, he even pulled a fast one on her before. He threw out a real apology, admitting he'd treated her like trash and that he'd totally misunderstood her. Forget that convo, Yakagi, and she kept barreling after the guy. Meanwhile, up on the tower's peak, that weird-looking guy was standing there like he owned the place. This is the moment the MC's squad got yanked out of nowhere, summoned straight into the action. And he recorded the moment the guy showed up, basically declaring, "There's nowhere left to run," but the dude still looked dead certain. Yeah, he kept pressing him, asking if he really thought showing up there with zero plan left him no way out. He shot his hands up, and a blazing magic circle snapped into existence around him. Dude was seriously about to drop something insane on the world, and you can already tell it's gonna blow up into a full-on disaster. That mage is furious because she says the heroes steal her spotlight and leaves him looking like a total rookie in front of everyone, and now he's going to make her pay big time. Meanwhile, our heroes are just hanging out, relaxing like nothing's about to happen, saying she isn't the only one who can pull off something like that. Right now, the main goal is to take him out fast, but with bummer like this, he can't pull it off. Right in the magic circle, a legendary shield snaps into place, blocking every spell and swallowing any outside damage before it can touch them. Trying to shut this down with force is a hard no, straight up not gonna work. He ripped people out of another world with a magic circle, straight up forced summoning. This tears open a hole in a world or dimension, and the second it happens, a resistance force explodes into place. If they try to smash it with raw power, that same force slams back at them hard. At minimum, the whole castle area is still going to blow up. Felmini doesn't buy it for a second, and the MC drops the real kicker. Only one person can pull off this magic circle trick. What he summons depends on his magic power, and he'll be fine as long as he doesn't accidentally call something massive. Suddenly, Felminia's eyes widen, then bam, a light bulb clicks on in her head, and then a vivid glow floods the entire place. Right then, boom, a massive explosion ripped through the air. Right after that, Yakagi claims he aimed the power up, so you know those nearby rooms got absolutely wrecked. The boys pull her into a group hug, then she drops her gaze. All she can do is stare at that towering monster roaring in front of her. Man, he's stuck in this wild question, like, is it a chicken, a lion, or something else entirely? Yakagi stares at the scene and blurts out that it's a Class B beast, something nobody saw coming. Felminia panics when she finally realizes they're not just moving, they're actually flying. Yakagi looks totally lost for a second, then it clicks. This world doesn't even have flight magic. If you don't want to crash, you've got one move: grab onto him and hang on for dear life. Felminia snaps, "So do you know what monster this is?" And he grins, "Yeah, it's a common one back in my world." The girl tells them Mizuki said there weren't any demons in his world, and Yakagi snaps back that it's because her knowledge is so ridiculously limited. Stuff like this is everywhere in his world, but people blinded by science just can't see what's right in front of them. Out there, demons are humanity's sworn enemies, and his story is basically built on the same dark setup. Universe 2, home to the last beast in his world, mysteriously named, and it screams one brutal truth: nothing lasts forever. Basically, their natural power is surging harder and harder toward the finish. They switch into creature bodies because getting humans scared is way easier when fear has a face you can see. Here's the kicker: they're not alive at all, and that's exactly what they call Twilight Syndrome. His universe won't crumble from some weird attack, but the truth is, civilization's end was already written the moment it all began. When the whole world gets swallowed by these phenomena, civilizations have no choice but to reboot the second it reaches the legend's long twilight end. This story is getting wild fast. Felminia swears these beasts are on a whole other level than any magical creatures they've seen, and she can't shake the feeling that Yakagi's world is in way bigger danger than theirs. Down there, the mage acted like it was nothing, swearing summoning a beast like that was easy, because hey, he wasn't the only one who could cast this spell. Right here, Yakagi calls him out: "You keep repeating the same thing over and over." They ask if he's out of fresh lines, and the poor guy is so flustered he blurts that he has to deal with the magical beast he just summoned. but the kids are convinced it's gonna be way easier than that. Then the wizard snaps his fingers and commands his magical beast to rip into the fight. He lunges, then the creature just shrugs it off and stays cold as ice. That poor guy is completely clueless because the creature isn't listening at all, but the way life rolls forward, it keeps pushing the next twist. Locks eyes on him and that guy S finished for good. After that, Fulminia fires off a question, why did all this happen? And Yakagi snaps back that it's the magic circle's doing. That spell was supposed to drag in more heroes, but the moment it called up a beast, it basically refused to obey. Alright, here's the deal right now, everything hinges on taking down that monster. At that exact moment, the girl snaps her hand forward and hurls a fiery spell straight at the monster. But it does absolutely nothing. Yagagi was totally pumped, like he was about to explode with hype. Trump is basically yelling, we've got to find a way to beat it. Fulminia leans in and asks if he didn't say magic is useless against it. Then Yagagi snaps back, yeah, that's true. But magic, that's a whole other beast. This kid's got crazy skills. He traced a magic circle right in midair, no cap. He charges in and brings the beast down. Seriously, turns out it was way easier than anyone expected, right? Touching down like a champ, Yakagi declares it with pure boss energy. Says everything's finally chill now in the group. And all the girls like, wait, is that really magic? So I'm sitting there like, wait, can wizards really do the impossible stuff like that? Even if she's stuck on the little stuff from her world, you still can't stop. Yakagi's like, nah, I'm not that, I'm just a mystery nerd. Because sure, maybe wizards are out here throwing epic chants, but he's on a totally different wavelength. These wizards from the other universe don't just prattle on and learn everything. They're all about going for the next level fast, stacking power until they're basically unstoppable. They did all of this just to dominate anywhere they land. Basically, he has to crack the magic code and finally pull off his dad's dream. So he's got a plan. He'll crack the way back to his world and grab the Akashic record. Suddenly, the MC hears a rattling sound in the rubble. And there's the wizard, battered to hell but still alive and fighting. Yagagi breaks into laughter and goes, man, that dude is cursed with the worst luck, but yeah, he's completely wrecked, just like everyone expected. Meanwhile, the mage is buzzing with excitement, bragging that it's absolutely insane to pull off those moves and take down the monsters. A few minutes later, more soldiers burst in and suddenly the place is packed to the brim. Keep it quiet, no one needs to know what that kid did. Then the soldier blurts, what the hell happened? And Fulminia shoots back, the last wizard snapped and went rogue, so we took care of it. Yakagi asked the king to spill the tea, but she figured the girl was basically bending the truth. Once everything was sorted, the soldiers seized the wizard and the MCs practically exploded like, she fixed it all. She beamed with gratitude, smiling from ear to ear after his help. And the kids are still totally clueless. Fulminia just goes, we've got to hustle back to the castle like, right now, because we need to tell the king, don't we? Later, right at the capital's gate, the hero squads kick into motion. Move and Yakagi's vibe stays chill, but Reiji's like, nah, I'm low-key freaking out, maybe saying yes was a mistake. Even if he's the hero or not, the demon army is marching in and they've got to figure out how to fight fast. He's got zero certainty, so they're about to slam into wave after wave of brutal enemies. And then when the time finally hits, they're gonna take down the Demon King. Then the MC snaps in, what if someone else beats him while you bail? Reiji's stunned, but he fires back, nah, we can't move, F***K. Move forward with that mindset. If he doesn't step up right now, he'll be toast sooner or later. Yagagi just lets out a laugh and says, yeah, I always jump into things without a clue. He doesn't hate this part of himself, but this time he needs to lock in on the enemy because they're on a whole new level. But Reiji, his mind's already braced for impact. Our boy snaps, if I'm doing all this just to survive, then there's nothing. Hold up, there's more I want to say, but don't go pulling anything wild. Reiji shifts gears and asks, is Yagagi cool? Right after he rips into that Imperial Court sorcerer, and he swears the MC was close by in all that chaos, though the kids insist, not really. The kids breathed easy, nothing happened, and Yakagi just casually brought up the ritual site's toast. But for Reiji, it's whatever, because the only thing that matters is the MC staying safe. Yakagi gets all flustered and blurts out, am I brave enough to say it now? While the other girls scramble to make things right after that whole castle cruise drama. But Yakagi was like, no worries, Fulminia had my back before you even blinked. Then Reiji blurts, so what's next? And he starts weighing whether to bail on the castle altogether. He doesn't have a real plan yet, he just wants to live out there free and untouched. Reiji blurted, how are you even going to pull that off? And Yagagi shot back, don't worry, I'll find some gig. Then the princess stepped in and warned him, if you stay, my dad's got you, so why are you trying to leave? Yajigi admitted, yeah, staying as the smart move, but his heart was set on running anyway, because the princess shut that down hard, telling him there's zero good reason to leave the castle. So yeah, the kid's standing in the castle, and suddenly he feels painfully out of place, doesn't he? But Reiji's not buying a single word. MC's like, yo, chill man, you're trying to stir up drama before we dip, because trust me, that'll only make everything go even more sideways. Mizuki blurts, are you gonna be okay? And he shoots back, relax, I've got a plan, I'll sell some books, that's it. He tells her not to stress, then flips it on her and asks, should I be more worried about you? But she's like, nah, I'm good, don't need magic tricks. Then Yakuigi leans in and goes, you really think charging the Demon King is a smart play? And tells her not to undersell herself, because she's got real magic skills and she can back up that Reiji fire. And Yakagi's like, if we're talking magic, the princess should be the MVP, so why is she the daughter? Princess is like, Dad got the whole country locked down with his crew and my brother too. Then she leans in and says she's got a mission, doing exactly what she came to do. No matter how op Reiji is, he still can't solo this, so it's on her now, the chosen one, and she's all in. When they hear this, those boys go wild like, whoa, he blurts out his apology, asks her to keep an eye on his buddy, and she goes, relax, we're a full-on squad from here on out, and we've got this. With everything finally sorted, our hero leans in to check on Reiji, praying he hasn't slipped right back into homesickness. He's still sick, but come on, he knows how this works, right? Because Reiji sometimes stares up at the sky, lost in deep thoughts, while Mizuki's in her room, fully in tears. Not a single one of them ever got to see their family again, and nobody realized that day was the last they'd ever have. Thinking it might be too brutal for them, he refuses to let it slide. He has to find some way to get back home. Then Reiji clocks our boy wearing that serious face and fires off a question. Are you bummed since we're leaving? But the kid just bursts out laughing, saying he's got that chill vibe. They call it a goodbye, but it feels like the last punch before everything changes. Yakogi's dead set on proving that no one gets left behind, so he'll claw his way back somehow. That's the plan, right? Just the two of them. Then the princess grins and goes, all right, let's roll. The goal locks in and the whole squad tears out onto the road. A soldier lurking in the shadows, seething with envy and the MCs just sat there, glaring like they were fed up. Later, Yakagi casually wandered the capital, flexing his fresh threads like he was just some regular dude now. He stared at the idea like a gamble. Should he really rush to the Adventurers Guild? He cruises through the streets like he owns the place, but cash is still a full-on mystery. The kid straight up bumps into this old guy clutching a money bag, then blurts that it's a gift from His Majesty. Normally, someone with his vibe wouldn't land something this sweet, so when it happened, our heroes basically went, my bad. In the end, he snatches it up, a weird doubt curling in his gut. Was the king really trying to play nice with him? When he reads that letter, he tells himself the king is just being kind. But deep down, he can feel this is really a setup for the king to collect future favors. Either way, he needs cash right now. No bargaining, no, not when it's this urgent. Later, our boy S posted up at the Adventurers Guild, and he's just sitting there when some random dude asks if he's been there before. Yakagi snaps, first time, and the girl echoes, same here. Like they're not even sure they're standing in the right place to sign up. MC's like, no way, this has gotta be a mix-up. She points out there's a totally different line for mission takers, then asks straight up if the girl is here to become an adventurer too. The girl admits it's awkward, but she shrugs and says fighting's her only skill, so she figured, why not? She steps in and introduces herself, I'm Lafil, asking her, can I tell you my name? MC shoots her a look and she immediately blurts out an apology, saying it's weird she just showed up, but she has a real reason. Not long ago, she was at the Church of Salvation when a message popped up telling her she'd meet someone nearby. So now she's scrambling to catch the names of everyone who gets close, and Yakagi, watching it all unfold, can't help but think it's kinda sus. She goes along with it but then drops this, anyone who catches that is even more suspicious, and somehow she stays totally chill about the whole thing. She can't believe it, her usual prayer set everything in motion, and suddenly time just shot past like nothing. Yakagi snaps in shock, asking if she's been doing this all day, then she fires back that he's the 10th person, and some people even swore she was hinting at something else. But he figures if a pretty girl like her walks up and starts talking to you, any guy would feel the same way. She flips the conversation and asks for his name, then he drops it like a secret. Yagagi. He asks if these church messages pop up all the time and she admits she's a regular churchgoer, but then says it's still rare to hear one because groups like the Church of Salvation can send messages that rattle an entire country. Honestly, she's desperate to know what the goddess is thinking, because right now it's a total mystery. Then the guild attendant calls her over and she shoots back a heartfelt thank you for the talk. Yakagi shoots a wave and just a few minutes later, it's finally his turn. The girl blurts out an apology for the delay, then flashes him a warm smile and ushers him straight into the Adventurers Guild. She blurts out if this is his first time, because the look on his face screams shock, and then she presses him to tell her which mission he's signing up for, but he shakes his head and says he's joining the guild instead. Hearing that, the girl's jaw drops. She simply can't believe it. He pushes for him to say it again, and right away he blurts out, I wanna join the guild. She just can't process it. She blurts out, do you even know what the Adventurers Guild is? If he's just messing around, she'll kick him out, because she's got zero patience, and the moment it looks like he's got her working overtime, she snaps. Our boys are out there trying to figure out what's happening, and no, this isn't how you join a guild, at least not like in those mangas. Out of nowhere, a beefy adventurer bursts in and demands, you said you wanted to join the guild, right? If he backs out now, he'll swear it was all a bad joke, but Yakagi won't fold because he's pushing in like, no, I want in. The adventurer smirks and asks if that scrawny version of him can even fight at his level, so our boy doesn't flinch, blurts out, yeah, and shoots back, what's the problem? Whoa, this kid's begging for a brawl, and boom, he gets one fast. Before he can even blink, the guild attendant steps in and snaps at him to stop, saying this isn't some playground for a kid who can't even swing a sword. He starts arguing, claiming he's fought before, but the truth hits him and it finally sinks in. The guy locked eyes with him and didn't blink. And now it finally hits him. He looks down and realizes his clothes are completely different. The adventurer grills him, asking if he truly trusts his own strength. Then Yakagi just smirks and says, if I didn't, I wouldn't be standing here. He gets even more riled up and declares, then we'll test it. But the guild girl yanks the brakes on him, warning that guild members can't go swinging on regular people. But the guy insists this isn't pointless violence. This rule doesn't hit just anybody, and if this guy wants in, he's not just anybody. So yeah, testing him on the spot is totally fair. Yakagi even argues there's no rule against it since magic exists here, and honestly, it doesn't look dangerous at all. At that moment, the adventurer snaps and slams forward at Yakagi, sword first. But Yakagi smacks it down like it's nothing at all. Dude, even the guild attendants were totally baffled. And now the guy sprawled on the ground with a busted nose, demanding to know what Yakagi did. And Yakagi just shrugs it off like it was pure magic. When the attendants blew everyone away, he pulled out magic with zero warning, and the boy immediately apologized for not introducing himself as a mage. Meanwhile, everyone's staring like crazy, shocked that he's actually a mage with that whole look. Then the boy leans in and asks the guild attendant, don't you believe me? And she shakes her head, saying it's not disbelief, it's just that he doesn't have a staff. But yeah, this kid's built tough, right? He doesn't need any of that until the attendant warns him that when bigger magic and resisting others get serious, he'll need gear like that. Then he tells him straight up that using magical items for tricky spells is awesome, but for everyday magic, everyone should learn to handle it on their own. Or down you go, if you can't pull it off, you're nothing but a third-rate mage. Right after that, Yakagi blurts out an apology to the adventurer for not realizing how crucial his clothes were. The adventurer waves it off and says not to stress it because he'd also made some super weird assumptions. Then our hero leans in and asks, so, will registering be a problem now? A few minutes later, it's all sorted out and the gilded girl blurts that she didn't mean to be rude. His name is just kind of funky. The boy only grins, says people tell him the same thing, and figures that even in Japan, his name is still one of a kind. Then the girl leans in and demands he tell her what element he's using, top secret information, and once it slips out, nobody else is supposed to know. Our hero gets quiet, thinks for a second, and then admits he's at least a fire mage. Right then, the girl goes wide-eyed, demanding to know if the magic he used earlier wasn't fire, and Yakagi just smirks. Yeah, I can use wind too, so the attendant tells him he can pick from two elements, pick the mean one. While he scopes out the scene, Yakagi can't ignore it. Ever since he arrived, they've been acting like elements are the whole point. At first, he cracked open numerology magic, then slammed in the right combos to summon any element he wanted. Right after that, the guild attendant leans in and asks, can you do restoration magic? Our hero freezes in pure confusion, and the attendant quickly asks if he even knows the craft. Obviously, our hero blurts that he's not, she's sure it's healing magic. After this boring little chat, she tells him she'll test his skills and figure out what rank he actually fits into. Finally, she steps forward, introduces herself as Dorothea, and announces she's the one running the new guild members. He shot back with a sincere apology for how he treated Araha earlier, because Araha's temper is a hair trigger, and he hasn't been able to stay calm lately with. Ever since the hero showed up, the guild's been flooded, country folk itching to be adventurers, but with zero skill and shady freeloaders crawling in just to suck up the perks. And it's all spiked hard over the last couple of days. Dude, this girl is so obsessed with Reiji. She's going on about how people say he's got the same skills and face as the heroes who came before. Yakagi seizes the moment and blurts out, "So, do you think he can beat the demons?" She grins and says, "If the rumors are right about what he can do, then yeah, it's totally possible." Yakage's eyes widen because these rumors sound insane to her, and all the info about the hero's powers only comes from old history books. And time again, the heroes get yanked into their world when disaster finally blows the door off. Because their power is absurd, like a sword technique that can cut titans as tall as the sky, and it's just one wild story after another. He leaned in and demanded, "So what do you think about it?" And then you're left praying he'll actually pull it off, because the boy just goes silent for a few tense seconds. Then she drops a bombshell: if this current hero really has the power she claims, winning might actually be possible. But he immediately calls it out, saying betting on victory just because the hero shows up or because he's the hero is way too naive. Suddenly, Dorothea slams the brakes on him and growls that he can't talk like that out here, because if the Church of Salvation shows up, he's done for. And even after all that, the guild members just can't believe it, especially with the hero's arrival hyping everyone up. Their guild started getting swamped with missions, one after another, so Yakagi figured that had to be the reason he got sent away, since the guy looked totally normal on the surface. She says it'd be a totally different story if there were a guild guardian, and then she adds, like, it's wildly suspicious for a newbie to walk into that place unarmed. The kid blurts out an apology, but the girl waves it off and tells him it's totally fine, as long as he gets it now. Yakagi snaps to attention and straight up asks what this skill measurement is all about, and you can tell things are about to get wildly more interesting, throwing the MC straight into the showdown. The poor guy still doesn't get it, but over there, a few extra surprises are already lined up, just waiting for him. Dorothea says she'll watch how he handles those two people. Looks like there's a mage and a warrior, but the MC is just sitting there, watching everything in silence. He blurts out, "Is this really the only way to check my level? No other way?" And she shoots back, "So, do you happen to know a better method than this?" His guild is one of the best in the country, so they've got their own training grounds, and the walls are built from top-tier material that shrugs off magic like it's nothing, so even the tiniest spells barely leave a scratch. Hearing this. And during all of this, the kids freaked out so hard, like, how could something like that even exist in the real world? Then the warrior guy shouts at Yakagi, "So what do you do?" And Yakagi answers, "Yeah, I'm kind of a mage, depends on my vibe, but I'm not gonna stress about it." Hearing that, the guy locks eyes with our hero and asks, "You ready or what?" And boom, Dorothea cuts in like, "Hold on." Yakagi could feel the tension and asked if the guys were in a bad mood, maybe Dorothea too, like they'd just bombed the last test. The most annoyed dude snapped at them to shut it, then turned to Yakagi and demanded to know who he wanted to fight. And the kid, going absolutely feral, shouts that he'll take on both of them at the same time. Man, he's really poking that guy's buttons nonstop now, no cap. The girl is totally baffled and asks if he's serious, and Yakuigi fires back, "I've got to find an inn after this so I can get back to the guild, so let's wrap this up." But the guy trying to warn him snaps, "Stop acting cocky. If you can't read how strong your opponent is, your rank gets chopped in half." He adds, "And if you back down now, I'll pretend I never heard it." Yet the cocky one just laughs, "Nah, I don't need that or your forgiveness." Right when he's about to throw hands, he blurts, "You sure you won't regret this?" and snaps at his buddy, "I can't let this kid keep clowning me, so." So Dorothea's about to drop the opening kick and start the fight. And right then, Yukagi snaps out a savage little flask, then whips his sword into the fight. They're completely clueless, all because the kid just blurted, "I'm a mage." But the MC is chasing it because what he just pulled off is magic too, so the guy sprints after him, desperate to find out what's going on. That smug dude leans in and drawls, "Why?" Akagi can't overpower him with the strength he's got right now. But our hero snaps into action and in just seconds pulls off some crazy moves. Some epic dodges, then they snap their chance open. He completely blanked, there's still a mage in the room. And the dude whips out a wind spell like it's a weapon. Yakagi chimes that bell and bam, a magic circle ignites beneath him. It wipes the whole thing out and the rewarder snaps, shocked in mid-sentence. Yakuagi's got these wild, one-of-a-kind skills like he picked them up at some nearby dojo, and meanwhile another mage is totally stunned, blurting, What kind of magic was that? Our boy swears it's defensive magic, but the guy snaps, that's not what I mean. Then the guild attendant storms in, stunned that he just used magic without a single word, and the boy shoots back, relax, you don't get to tack an element onto defensive magic. But she snaps that magic can't work unless you've got an elemental opening, and magic with no words isn't real here. Every spell runs on elemental power, no exceptions, yet somehow he still managed to cast it without a single one. Hearing all of that, Yakagi finally clicks like, oh, so THAT's how it works, right? Using elements is brutal, you need them, it drags casting out, and it's a pain to keep doing it over and over. The mage just stands there, itching to understand, but Yakagi shrugs it off like, don't sweat it, I'm just shocked. So you're telling me you truly don't care about it at all? The guy snaps even harder and swings his staff to unleash another wind spell, so you know our boy S about. He snaps together a magic circle and wipes it out like it's nothing, easy. The mage is trembling, fully in disbelief. Then boom, the other warrior snaps forward and charges straight at our boy. The next second, he slams another magic circle into place and declares that an attack like that won't ever touch him. He slips the dude's swing and jabs him back, then pauses like, whoa, that sounds kinda sus. Yakagi shoots back the warning, his magic won't touch him, yet the mage grins and fires off another wind spell. Yagaki slams down a magic circle to wipe it out, but that dude, it's not over yet, this story's far from done. Man, that mage wouldn't quit, he kept coming like a storm that refused to pass. The guy tries to break out of the magic circle, but the spell slams him down and he can't get out at all. Suddenly, the other warrior rockets straight toward our boy, closing the distance in a heartbeat. Yeah, but before he can even react, the boy clamps down and traps him fast. Down, bragging that this time he's finally won. He crashes onto the ground battered and bruised from head to toe. Dorothea still can't wrap her head around it, our hero just wiped out both of them. Then, out of nowhere, that hat-wearing girl pops back in and claims she saw the entire fight with her own eyes. She's blown away by how ridiculously strong the boys are. Yakagi's like, wait, why am I here? And then she blurts out that her registration took longer than normal and she just happened to catch him fighting them. So imagine this, our guy's hanging out at the guild with no weapon in sight and Yakagi's convinced he's there just to request a mission. The boy catches it by accident, blurts out, oops my bad, and then even the guild attendants are like, you guys already know each other, and the girls are shutting it down. Nah, we just met him a second ago. Next thing, Dorothea starts hyping this mage and warrior duo like crazy, claiming they're insanely strong, and that almost nobody has ever managed to take them both down at the same time. Yakagi's jaw drops, she finally clicks that it was her all along. That's why those two were glaring at her before, like salty ghosts. The guild attendant jumps in and declares that Yakagi pulled off an insanely epic win too. Then he flips the whole scene into the next gear. In gears, Dorothea leans in and tells Lafil she's a top-tier mage, then drops the big question, could Yakagi be her rival? And just like that, Lafil's LFS. Yeah, he's got wild skills for real, and Yakag can't help wondering how he stacks up against the big league mage because she knows the stakes. The attendant cuts in, hyping Yakag like, this kid's got rank S written all over him, and Yakag fires back, so how does that famous castle mage measure up? She shrugs, says it's no contest. Yakag lives for research, so it's not really a fair comparison. Yakagi then presses Lefel, and Lefel doesn't dodge. He says he's not just about brute strength, he's driven by curiosity. The girl blurts out that her view is limited, but what she's seen tells her this. Yakagi's magic doesn't even hit the same level as the real monsters. Like, the top dogs could wipe out a whole city with a single spell. And yeah, that roast landed hard. Dorothea can't help it. She presses Yakagi, who are you really? He's a monster in fights, but he's still a mystery, so he can't drop the reincarnation truth. He just shrugs and claims he's from far away. Yakagi fires off a question, are you headed for Nephilia? And Lafel grins, saying she's going there to study magic because she's not really locked in on it yet, so she wants a brand new start. Yakagi's just like, you mean you're risking all this for magic? She nods and admits she never took it seriously back then. Dorothea lights up saying having her around would be awesome, even if it sucks that she's leaving. Because either way, they're getting a killer mage on the team, even if Yakagi warns he's headed to Krant eventually. Yeah, that's a brutal gut punch. She just watched two ace mages get wiped out and her hopes totally crumbled. Yakagi shoots back with a quick apology, admits he's got other plans, and says he'll still roll into Lafel City too. Krantz bursts in and admits he has no clue when they'll see each other again. but he's still pushing for them to team up. He's got a killer bounce now, and you can tell he learned a ton from that fight. They're trading goodbyes, and Yakagi figures it's let her go. She doesn't look like the type to talk, but remember, even one loose end can blow everything up. After the little talk dies down, Yakagi turns to the guild attendant and demands, "So, what rank am I?" "So yeah, dude, once you wiped out those mages, your attendance has to be insane, at least rank C, and that's solid. But you've still got the firepower for rank B." Yakuaga's jaw drops when you hit rank B, that's huge. And Dorothea basically tells him, in Nomura's time, you're gonna be famous. Yagagi's basically saying, go ahead and spill the gossip, but she still admits it. No rumors needed, because a brand new rank B kid is seriously impressive. Yagagi shrugs it off like, go ahead, I'm not trying to get famous, and somehow makes it sound easy. The two ahead of him are rank D. If they even try to talk back, they'll only end up as second-rate mages, and yeah, he's absolutely throwing shade. Swallowing his apology as he braces for what's about to hit next, Yakagi hurls a spell, and the whole room drops into a dead sleep. But one mage refuses to sleep, burning with questions. Why? Yakagi shrugs it off and says he just wants the right rank so he can get back to doing his thing still. Still to him, that's straight up bonkers, because in a guild, your rank decides what jobs you're even allowed to grab, so giving that up makes zero sense, right? Yakagi just wants fewer headaches and plans to level up his combat skills by going up against the locals. Then he's dying to know why he can't remember, especially since the reception crew already recognizes him. Yet Yakagi snaps that just because they know his face doesn't mean they can figure out what he can do. Humans panic over the unknown nonstop, so if someone shows up as a mystery, they brand them as weak and dismiss whatever happens at that reception as nothing but dumb luck. Right when he shifts gears, he swears that when he wakes up, it'll all be chill, honor stays spotless, and nobody's getting roasted. Hearing that, the mage just knows he's been playing all of this to lock his real self away. And our heroes, they nailed it. That's why he went and took on those two at the same time. In the blink of an eye, a few days vanish and our heroes are back at it, grinding hard, chasing every last bit of progress taking. He takes a quick breather like it's his very first workday because he refuses to get wiped out. His whole mission is finding his way back home. And since he's already devoured nearly every book in the palace, he's now got his sights locked on the kingdom of Nephilia for the next clues. To reach Nephilia, he has to head straight to Krantz City, sprawled on the far western edge, yeah, but before he goes, he's hunting for the good, juicy intel on Nephilia first. Anyway, he's gotta take care of business. Then bam, someone crashes into him. The MC blurts out, my bad. Devastating, those girls are sobbing, right there breaking my heart. In our hero spot, Lefil steals the scene. A little later, back in the capital, the MC starts chatting up an old guy, flexing that he landed the job to escort the merchant caravan, only for the old dude to grin and say, yeah, I know him, he's the boss of my crew. His name's Galio. Having a healer in the mix is pure gold, because if anyone gets wrecked on the way to the cramps, they're all counting on him. They're heading out real soon, so don't drift off. Then boom, someone screams for the AMC shows up and guess who's back? Lafil. The kids are totally into it. Like, why are you here? And she snaps back that she's tagging along with the caravan too, right from Yakaga's shop. She sat there shocked, then admitted, yeah, that was the plan, just to cool down for a bit. But the gig she grabbed 2 days ago paid out huge, so she stacked the cash she needed and decided to slam the brakes off the whole schedule. She also wanted to talk about that morning, making sure to apologize for everything. Yaki tries to ask if something went down. He stops pretending she's fine when he can clearly see she's not comfortable. Then he changes the subject and blurts, so, what gig did you take? She smiles and says she had to deal with some ghouls and yeah, they're sketchy as hell, so it was an emergency job with a really sweet payoff. The moment he hears ghouls, he's totally lost, guessing what kind of monster that even is, like, could it be an ogre? But nah, these aren't the same at all. They're monsters that straight up chew up humans like snacks. The boy's stunned because he'd never heard of it, and Lafil bluntly tells him people like him don't show up that often. Basically, they're a giant subspecies, just not the massive kind, and that tiny size comes with terrifying power, so people swear one single ghoul can smash a small fortress all on its own. But the kind of place they burst into existence isn't anywhere near this town. Hearing that, our hero's mind kicked into overdrive, and he started analyzing everything. Convinced the castle books were hiding the truth about dangerous beings, he found two big theories straight from their pages. First, nature stalled, and that's when huge monsters start crawling out. Second, a demon is out there forging fresh minions. The catch, nature's spawning is weak right now, so yeah, something nasty is probably lurking in the shadows. Hearing that, the girl gasped, then nodded fast. Yeah, that's probably true. Just then, the other old guy yells them back to the caravan. Yakagi immediately shoots back. What's going on? But then she steps in and tells him to chill. But something smells off. Yakog is totally on the same page, and it doesn't add up. Soon enough, the whole squad is up and moving, like the mission just kicked into overdrive. Yakagi blurts out a question about this goddess El Shuna. So Lafiel explains that she forged the sky and the earth they walk on, that nothing reigns above her in this world, and that she's basically the boss of all mystical creatures, the queen standing at the top. Hearing that, Yakagi figures these folks only stick to one religion, and right after, Lafiel blurts out the real scoop. Dwarves, dragons, and every other species here, all lining up like they share the same vibe for this goddess. He can't help wondering if Yakagi's world has something like that, but Yakagi's like, nah, we spent the whole time debating whether those things are even real, and Lafiel just grins and says you'll probably spot some the moment you hit Nephilia. It's honestly wild that Yakagi, of all people, has zero idea who goddess Alshuna is, even though she's from his world. The girl shoots him a sharp side-eye like, seriously, you've been talking way too fancy lately. They're only a year or two apart, so let's skip all the stiff, formal nonsense. If anything goes down, swapping info is way easier, and he can just call her by her name, no awkward detours. The boy's scrambling over his own words to say her name, and she basically drags him through the floor with a savage roast. Out of nowhere, somebody calls for a break and the whole squad snaps into action, rushing to gather up. The girl says those are her ghoul mission buddies, and she's already tight with them. They're shouting her over, asking if she wants to join them and ride out. The boys shrug like it's no big deal. She bounces off, and he keeps staring like he can't stop. Curious what Reiji and the whole crew are doing right now. Then the whole scene snaps to the other guy square up because he's fighting a giant monster head-on. The boys are fighting for their lives, scrambling just to survive. But with Mizuki right beside him, they're barely holding on, hanging in the balance. With only one monster still standing left in there, Reiji grabbed the opening and pushed it all the way to the finish. He swings his blade one last time and ends it with his sword. After all that, Reiji's completely wiped out from getting pummeled all day. He checks on Mizuki, right as her response hits him like, yeah, so this is what it feels like to go toe-to-toe with real monsters. Reiji tells her to calm down, but she swears she's fine, talk is cheap, while he's been standing on his feet nonstop since the very beginning. Reiji nods along, but these monsters are nothing compared to the Demon King's crew, because the second you think about our boy, you can't help but feel it. He finally gets why he called their moves reckless. Suddenly, Mizuki trips and eats the ground. She's wiped out, and Reiji shoots off a quick mental apology for dragging her into all of this. And just like that, everything clicks back into place. Before long, the rest of the crew arrives, and the princess tackles the girl in a tight hug, breathing out in pure relief that she's okay, and for once, nothing bad even happens. Reggie shifts gears and praises their work, and the old guy shoots back that he's only defending the princess. The girl's heart sinks because she couldn't save the horses from those monsters, and even Raji's bummed out too, but she's relieved they're safe. Mizuki clocks that the princess is battle-hardened, and she straight up admits she's already fought a few times. When Raji got summoned, he snatched her up as his sidekick, and suddenly she had to train for anything that came for them. No stress before all this, she was way weaker. So yeah, she really needs to own that confidence because her journey's just getting started. Mizuki beams, thanks her, and then leans in, asking where the MC could possibly be. The princess doesn't believe he'll ever leave the castle, and if he dares to step out and bumps into some magical creature, she swears he's finished for good. Reiji shoots in, insisting he'll be fine because his sword skills are straight up lethal. Everyone's freaking out, and he's like, I know sword play. The game starts, and the boy blurts that he's in the kendo club Mizuki. Suzuki stared in disbelief, refusing to believe that place was just a dojo. The princess leans in and asks Yakogi if he's even into martial arts, because honestly, he doesn't look like someone who fights. Reiji laughs at that, saying most people underestimate him, because he's got way more skills than you'd ever expect. Even if they're just basics, the girl finally fesses up, she misjudged his skills. Bottom line, Reggie's not sweating because the boy is smart and locked in, doing what he does best. Mizuki flips the conversation, then blurts out the real concern. The demons are watching Nephilia and she wants to know why. But the girl snaps, not yet, because those gaps between kingdoms and the demon lurking there mean invasion if they want to attack, and to reach it they'd have to cut through the mountains and cross 2 whole countries, so yeah, they won't even be able to hit Nephilia, at least not without dragging danger into her path. She tells them they've already spotted demons there, and even if that squad isn't just relaxing, you can't trust that they're safe or unprepared. Gregory gets asked what he thinks, and he just goes, "Man, demon armies. I've got zero idea how they operate, but I'm sure they'll be on the move from that spot ASAP." The princess nods, saying yes truthfully, because even if we're desperate to know what the demons are plotting, rushing in without a plan could turn into a complete disaster. Reiji then shoots a question, so are demons lurking anywhere besides the north? And the old guys just shrug like, nah man. In this world, every time a hero shows up, the monsters always crawl in from the north. That's the rule. Suddenly, another soldier rockets into the scene, and she blurts, "What happened to your buddy?" The guys totally freaked out and shouted, "We have to scram now," because a giant monster mob just spilled out of the country and is charging straight for them. It's just a gut feeling until the night patrol spots demon tracks and everything clicks. Still, there's not a single demon in sight, no sign of an attack either. Mizuki's freaking out like, wait, if demons were really around, wouldn't they have gone after us already? Meanwhile, Reiji's mind raced. This wasn't a random hit, and he refused to believe a few demons could ever stop him. The demons sense a hero's been summoned, but they can't crack his plan, so the patrol's hot on his heels. The princess realizes that's why they're hunting for the hero's identity, betting they'll back off if they can spot his army. But somehow no messenger showed up with them. Rage snaps, asking how big the army is, and the reply lands, around 1,000 men. So they tore out of there on a jet, but the knight flips the script, tough luck, there's only one horse left and now we've got to find a route fast. Meanwhile, the old man grinned and revealed his plan. This is exactly the perfect time. No need to worry about anything else. A few days later, back with the crew, LaFile leans in and asks the MC, "Did you catch it?" The boy snaps a look over his shoulder. They mumbled a few kinda excuses, then cut into that forest, and ever since the air felt straight up weird. He's out here wondering if some magical creature is hiding in the shadows, but nope. There's nothing, just something that sure doesn't look human. Now I'm telling you it's a demon. Bro, this is gonna explode in our faces, isn't it? Yakagi hears her and goes, "Whoa, are you sure it's a demon, or is that just a guess?" But the girl doesn't hesitate. "Nope, I know them, I'm dead certain." Suddenly, a new adventurer barges in and blurts out that the mages can feel magic stirring, so the leader demands they come right away. Yagagi demands to know what the merchants are gonna do, even hinting they might get shoved to the front to dodge the trap. But the guy snaps back that they'll be evacuated straight into the forest, because there are monsters ahead too. Worst case, they'll get surrounded with nowhere to run. The leader says they'll stay in plain sight, no way they're risking a sneak attack, and LaFile snaps, "So who's fighting for us? If they might get boxed in, they need someone ready to cut through and thin the enemy ranks. But look, we're not trying to spook them. If we just defend, those monsters won't even break a sweat." Anyway, he turns and sprints back to his post, leaving the rest to them, while LaFile admits she has no clue what's about to hit. But what she's seeing isn't some run-of-the-mill monster. These are demons, and they're ordering her to report back to the leader ASAP. The adventurers were stunned. How could she possibly know? She just smirked and said, "Because I've lived it, your vibes aren't like regular monsters." He's still stunned for a second, then it clicks, and he backs off, letting them handle the rest. Right after that, LaFile snatches up a gigantic sheath and yanks out a sword in one sharp motion. Our boy S just frozen in disbelief, because she's standing there like a total pro and she's got a sword in her hands. She barrels straight for the front line, roaring that she'll hit first. Yakagi asks if it's really cool, because the enemy's still a decent ways off, and she starts wondering if she should go talk to the leader first. But she snaps at him to open his eyes. These adventurers and soldiers only play defense, and that plan just won't fly. So he should jump in with everyone and tear into those demons. Every single one of them, no cap, is here to rob, smash, and wreck, so if he's trying to stop them, just defending won't be enough. Hearing that, Yakagi admits he understands the danger of just sitting back on defense. But he's not buying it as a smart play, and LaFile fires back, asking if he's basically saying she should go all in on defense. And Yakagi basically tells her, "Yeah, I don't think I can take him down one-on-one. They should regroup and cook up a new plan," yet she just smirks and says she knows the drill, because she's not about to waste time and sleep on their power anymore. Challenging the MC, can he really handle every single one of them? Demons are pure trouble. Every second they spawn, they wreck lives until they vanish, and not once do they ever make things better, so they've gotta find a way to wipe them out for good. She's not just threatening, she's going to wipe them out, and once she starts dipping in, she roars, "That's it." Our boy rushes in to stop her, but she just grins and tells him, "Don't stress. then hands him the real job, watch the cargo, like seriously, that's all he's gotta do. It's crystal clear, he's been shadowing her from the start. Minutes later, a whole squad of monsters crashes the scene and rolls in. Whoa, those demons just rolled up, didn't they? Yakagi just hangs back, eyes locked on his opening, waiting to throw hands the second it's time. Then La Phil bursts in and slashes into one of them, cutting the fight wide open. Whoa, those girls are insanely talented, right? Then she shoots back, don't count me out, this fight isn't over. This time there are way more of them than last round, and some of them are still banged up, plus they're running short on crew. Then our boy snaps his eyes shut, grips his thoughts tight, and suddenly realizes there are around 20 of these monsters. The other guy snaps that they can't run from this spot, so they're gonna take them head on. That other merchant was trembling like a leaf, insisting he'd only come to Nephilia for errands, so Lafil cuts in and tells him to calm down because she'll handle it. He lunged to the MC and warned, it's almost time, feel that, the ground is about to rumble. And all you can see is that squad of monsters barreling straight at you. Right then, Lefil's sword ignites with a fierce glowing light, and she starts wiping them all off the board, one by one. Our boy just sits there, eyes locked on her, praying she might be human. This insane power isn't just muscle. It can wreck lives in every way imaginable. I started to think that girl wasn't even fully human. Something wilder was burning inside her. Meanwhile, the girl keeps charging straight at every demon, staring them down like, is that all you've got? The soldiers start buzzing with adrenaline, realizing that with Lafiel riding shotgun beside them, they might actually pull this off. Suddenly, the ground starts trembling again and the other mage snaps her warning. Watch out, I can feel a huge wave of magic coming. Then bam, more monsters crash into the scene. Lethal orders them to fall back, and right on cue, an explosion erupts. Then another demon crashes the scene. Holy crap, this one's built like a tank compared to the rest. With a smug grin, he leans in and says, I finally found it. From way over there, the MC just stares, stuck in his thoughts, replaying every word and begging to know what he meant. Everyone in that room was rattled by this demon, and Yakagi can't shake the feeling that this monster is on a completely different level. The demon leans in and says it looks like the rumors are way off, like someone cooked up fake news about him. Even so, it doesn't change a thing. What he's about to do next is going to go down no matter what, shouting to every human on the planet. He blurts out, I'm Rajas, one of the 7 generals serving the big demon king, and then smirks like it's already over, saying they'll be obedient and absolutely crushed because anyone weak enough to cross his path doesn't stand a chance, right? Lafel's rage ignites, she bolts straight at the general. Wait, what? He just stands there and blocks it like it's nothing, telling you she's got real skills. She fires back, demanding, did you forget my sword? And even worse, do you not know who I am? The monster stops dead in its tracks. He thinks for a second, then his eyes light up as he blurts out, I remember. They're asking if she's the same survivor from the Gnosis army, because it looks like she barely dodged death on the road and somehow survived, while everyone else got absolutely wrecked. With a spark in her eyes, the girl bolts straight at him. He's slinging strike after strike, but not a single one finds its mark. With a smug grin, the monster snaps that her moves are way too basic, counterattacking. But before long, our hero bursts in, ready to throw herself between danger and her. The girl grabs his attention and begs him to bounce. Then Yakagi slams down a magic circle and unleashes a brutal attack that even the demon has to feel. But the creature was still standing there unshaken. Yakagi tries to take the hit, but he barely slips out of the way at the last second. Seeing that, the demon snaps into panic, staring like, how didn't that crush our hero? That attack should have flattened him to the ground. Right then, our hero bursts up behind him like it's all been planned. He slams him with earth magic right on the spot. The creature slammed to the ground so violently that its head punched straight into the earth. And our boy just keeps charging forward, no stopping, no looking back. Then boom, another explosion tears through the air. Thinking about it, he's sure that brutal power could never fit a human, because it's probably some wild loot ripped straight out of another dimension or something. The demons were all like, whoa, wait, what? Because they never saw it coming and they were totally stunned that a mage could level up this hard. Yakagi's like, bro, you're all talk, yet every shot you throw misses. And the monster fires back, yeah, you can't flex when your power's straight up weak sauce. Then Lefiel's like, alright, Canatus, stay chill, because this monster could wipe the whole place out if it wanted. Right then, the big dude bellows like a monster. Yakagi's just thinking, another lazy screw-up, huh? If that's how it is, he'll go full throttle while he still has the advantage until it's too late because the monster is already springing back in. He tells Lafil his power isn't something you can ignore, and once he's rallied his crew, he's returning for round 2. Hearing that, the girl snaps, so what's the deal with those demons up there? He's basically bragging, just a little squad from my army, and that's all you get to see. At least he can breathe. She knows that demon army isn't some tiny threat, because he's got them swarming the entire area, where they'll hunt down every human they lay eyes on and crush them without mercy. And just like that, the dude bolts. Laffel tries to stop him, but the MCs cut in like, hold up, fix the injured first, no debate. The boy shoots her a quick, are you cool? And she just blurts, sorry. Time rockets by as the MCs stay on their feet, hustling and helping adventurers who need them. While Leffie's busy yapping with them, the whole vibe hangs on his every word. She can't help but ask what's going on because she's convinced there's more to this than meets the eye. Wondering if the demons will crash the party the moment they don't scramble to safety right now. Then this other guy just blows up, screaming that they were attacked because of her. The demon was probably hunting her, and that's why everything exploded into pure chaos. Then Yakagi barrels in to back her up, snapping that it makes zero sense if she was the target from the very start. From what the demon said, it's obvious he had zero clue about her past, so she wasn't the target, yet the mustache guys were still totally baffled, firing off. So what does all this mean? Yagagi realizes the demon's hunting intel and trailing her to get it, but the chatter drags on and the MCs are already like, this is going nowhere. Just then, a new merchant slides into the scene and tells everyone to calm down, because he won't let them brawl, not while the merchants are still trying to stay safe. The adventurer fires off a question and the old man just smirks because as the boss, that mess is his responsibility. So he has to put LaFile's safety above everything, no exceptions. They're coming for her like demon bait, and since he's the leader, he has to step in and take the hit. Hearing that, the girl grins and asks him, so, do you want me to bounce for you? The old man groans that losing her power stinks, but if she's demon bait, then that's the only move they've got. And just like that, everyone's buzzing, she has to go, and there's absolutely no other way. Our boy lunges in to stop them, yelling, so you're really leaving her here? And the adventurer shoots back that traveling with her brings even more demons, so no matter what monsters they bump into, it's her problem, not theirs. Yakagi checks in, asking if everyone's truly in, then the whole group just goes dead quiet. The adventurer reckons Yagagi's after the same thing, but the MCs snap back. Nah, never saw that coming, and the guy even teases that Yagagi's totally crushing on her just because she's adorable. Hearing that, the boy's already got his fists up, ready to throw down. Right then, LaField bursts in and declares, fighting won't change a thing. Right after the old man declares they're turning back, she realizes she has no say in it, then snaps that she'll take a totally different route. A few minutes later, she's packing like her life depends on it, and the MC can't shake the gut feeling that this is really the end. Those other adventurers are probably thinking the same thing too. Then LaFille locks eyes with the MC and says, yeah, we didn't do much hanging, but I swear we've still got something to show. She prays he makes it to Naphilia safe, then she's gone, and Yachig is left standing there, staring at the silence, terrified this is really how it ends. The other guy tells Yagagi they're bouncing, but Yagagi's all fired up. Nah, I'm sticking with the girl, thanks for everything. But seriously, the merchants are like, wait, you sure? Because if you bolt right now, they're cutting you off, no cash. But Yakiki's already shut the door on doubt. He just needed food and water. As he's frantically packing Then this other adventurer shows up and wow, he's a straight-up buzzkill. Yakagi's done playing nice, snaps his fingers and boom, he drops in seconds. The other knight immediately goes, you good? So yeah, Yakagi's got everyone's backs, but from here on out, every single one of you needs to stay sharp and keep your eyes wide open. He's convinced he'll never leave someone behind, not ever. Then the whole scene snaps back to Reiji. They're super stressed, snapping, do you use the MC as bait? And the old dude just grins, yeah, exactly like you heard. And Mizuki's like, relax, let's hear him out. He breaks it down, the demons dumped a whole army on the borders, and to get the hero free, they threw our boy out there as bait, while Yakagi sits there completely clueless about the whole thing. And just a few days later, he slips out of the castle and snags a guild mission. Then the nobles get wind of it and decide they're taking him for themselves. Mizuki's like, Yakagi should know the world isn't some game, and then the old guy shrugs, nah, he didn't get it, he just up and left with a trading company. Rage is practically at his breaking point, snapping, why did you even need me as bait? That old dude leans in and tells the hero the demon army he's facing isn't just big, it's crushing fast, way beyond what humans could ever handle. Duke Adria even warned that if the hero got crushed, it'd be a total disaster, so Mizuki's like, wait, do I even know this Duke? And the princess hits back that he's a major deal in Estelle, backed by her father all the way. That old dude says it was a secret call, the Duke and a bunch of nobles only, And yeah, they trust the hero, but they're shaking their heads because it's just too damn early for him to march up against an army. The princess leans in and asks how they'll outsmart the demons, but the old guy just frowns and admits they hit a snag. They shipped out clueless soldiers and warned them the heroes were riding with a merchant crew, bound straight for Krant. If the soldiers got captured, they'd crack under pressure and dump fake intel and interrogation, so the demons would swallow nothing but lies. Raji fumed, demanding to know what his life was even for. That old guy shrugs and says, if sacrificing soldiers keeps the hero alive, then it's worth every single one. He tells them the merchant group had zero to do with it. Then he points to the demon armies massing near the border and says this is their only move to buy time and stall. Reiji goes, wait, why did they keep me in the dark this whole time? It's obvious they told him to keep it dead quiet, but screw that now because it's too late to hide it. That report just nailed the trading company's location, and now it's only a matter of time before the demons show up. Even if he thinks he can slip away, the guy warns him they'll hunt everywhere, no hiding. The princess grills Krant about their defenses and he smirks, mercenaries, guild fighters, and a secret relic squad on standby. Riga's like, don't you even think about using Yakagi as bait, but the old guy snaps back, the demon army is almost here. If they don't build a rock-solid defense, their country is going to crumble like Nocius. Because they can't afford to lose the hero, their only hope, and to stop that disaster, the Duke pulled out every trick and Mizuki's. That's way too brutal. Seeing all of it hit Reggie like a punch, he's super nervous, begging, is there another way? Because part of him can't stop thinking about that brutal logic, cut a few loose to save the many. Still, it's brutal to drag someone into a summoning they never even agreed to. Then boom, the old guy drops to his knees and bows, apologizing for every single thing he did. He can feel it, he knows this is unforgivable, but he had no choice, so he had to do it. And just like that, the boy forgives him right to his face, dropped the blame on himself instead. He got what he deserved for ignoring orders and blabbing about Yakagi anyway. The old man locks eyes with the boy like he's got a secret he's about to unleash. He swears he can't lie, no ties to this world, no reason to stay, just one mission, take down the Demon King. He can't stop wondering if he plays dumb when his buddy's clearly in trouble, who would he turn into? Soon the boy finally moves and the princess snaps, where do you think you're going? Of course he's gonna throw himself in and try to save the main character. The girl gets it, but she claims she's got no horse, then Reiji shoots back, relax, there's still one left, the knight's horse. Even if he scrambles in on time, a demon army is already waiting, and he'd be gambling everything, pleading for him to stop and rethink, because who's going to beat the Demon King if he fails? But the boy shoots back, I can't just bail on Yakagi, come on, we're tight. Mizuki came in to save the MC, but she's totally not on board. Terrified to the core, they trembled like they might shatter. And Reiji realizes she hasn't felt like this in ages. With a shaky apology he says, don't worry, I'll take care of it, begging her to meet him somewhere safe while he handles everything. The boy springs onto the horse and bolts forward, and heads out to track down our hero. Now that's what I call a real homie. A little later, we cut to the MC still hunting La Phil, sprinting after her for nearly an hour, and he's got nothing to show for it. Suddenly, the sky detonates into a full-on downpour, and the boy halts beneath a tree, muttering that wild beasts always show up here. Thinking this is insane, whoa, being here feels unreal. Then he snaps his gaze back, and boom, La Phil pops up right in front of him. She figured it was only one beast out there. And the MC panics, snapping, what's going on? She pivots the conversation and fires off, why are you here? And Yakagi admits he just trailed after her while Lafiel warns that staying close to her is straight up dangerous. Yakati asks if it'd be worse if she had to go solo, but she shrugs it off and doesn't even care. They're stuck in an awkward silence and later the MC finally blurts out, can I know what's going on? She probably loaded up on water and supplies, but she keeps her mouth shut, it claiming he'd probably only grabbed a little too. Then bam, out of nowhere, the boy yanks out a whole mountain of food like it was hiding in another world. He asks, is this enough? And if he's claiming his food won't be enough for her, the girl freezes in shock and blurts out, what kind of magic trick are you using? Staring at the bag, she figures it can pack up to 150 liters. Then Lefil leans in and asks if he's really okay with that, and Yakagi fires back, what would you do if I told you I'd regret it? She just blurts out sorry, but Yakagi snaps back that he can't regret a thing, because if it truly hurt, he wouldn't have gone after her in the first place. Honestly, being with her beats hanging around a bunch of merchants any day. The girl goes silent, like she's holding a storm back. And Yakagi shoots him a question, what path does she think fits him best? Lafil answers. Honestly, rolling with merchants is the way to go, but Yakage's like, I can read her vibes, trust me. So he's got to swear a promise to the goddess Elshuna, at least that's what it looks like. Hearing that, the girl's face instantly turns red and she blurts out, she only won this time, saying it would be amazing to have him around. Those demons probably came crawling in because of her. Yagagi cuts him off, this isn't the right target. They're probably hunting someone else, but for her, it changes nothing. She asked if she'd let him finally tell her story, the legend of the ancient kingdom of Nocius, where the demons came in and tore everything apart. Like she said, those demons probably showed up because of her. She's the survivor of that ancient kingdom, and that kind of history has a way of summoning trouble. Yagagi hears that and immediately blurts out, wait, are you talking about that spot on the human-demon border that got hit first? He clearly knew the whole story and Lefil snapped that it was a massive disaster. Right from the start, Nocius was already battling demons, day after day, drilling for war like it was coming any second. But despite all that prep, it all collapsed in under a month. Yakagi swears he heard the troops number in the millions. And Lafil straight up says it feels just like staring into an endless sea, crammed to the brim with demons from one end to the other. When he hears the tale, his jaw hits the floor. He blurts out, so that's when you first met that demon guy. The girl fired up the tale about a gazillion troops storming the border, then bam, she collided with one of the 7 demon generals, bragging like crazy that he'd snatched 3 of the 7 army divisions. Yakage's mind is blown. How the heck did only 3 out of 7 turn this place into a full-on demon nightmare, and what kind of chaos would the other 7 unleash? She admits she was basically toast back there, fighting that demon, and her squad got steamrolled in the blink of an eye. Then it hits her, getting attacked first can't be random. Right there, Yakagi leans in and blurts out, so you mean the spirits, huh? She nods and says, in our land, everybody's known it. This power was built to take on demons. Then adds that her ancestors are part spirit, part human. So yeah, that goddess pulled this off to keep humans alive longer against the demons. Then her plan kickstarted the sword technique, and that same power even fueled the past summoned heroes too. Hearing that, the MC's eyes widened. This girl in front of him wasn't just special, she was on the same hero level as Reiji. She fires up the story, claiming that sword has lived in her family for ages, and that when her dad finally retired, it became hers, right from his hands. She's been swinging it since she was a kid, and ever since, she's craved one thing, to use that power to save people and help everyone, no matter what. But just as her dream was about to take flight, she got booted out of her homeland. Then she had to survive as an adventurer, and now she's ended up right here. What a bummer, right? Then she totally flips the vibe. She leans in and grills her way into the MC's story, zeroing in on his skills. He insists he's just wildly, fiercely dedicated. Right before he starts over like he knows nothing, Lethal fires back, so what do you mean? And he tells us his dad barely spoke until someone finally ordered him to start learning. Then he actually moved. Learning magic felt awesome, like there was nothing to hate, until the brutally hard stuff started hitting him and it hurt like hell. After what felt like forever, his dad finally dropped the truth about why. And if that whole incident never blew up in the first place, he'd probably kept that secret buried with him forever. Then Lafil hears it and blurts, shocked, it's wild, someone so much like me is out there. Then Yagagi leans in and demands, so what's the deal with these demons? She tells you that long ago, a wicked god clashed with the goddess Elshuna. This evil god strutted around flexing his powers, then the goddess and the elementals absolutely slammed him, while they tore through a dimensional gap in hot pursuit. Bottom line, demons are the evil god's henchmen, and they're clawing to plunge the world into chaos and death. Yakagi demands answers. Does the power of these monsters come from that god? Lafil leans in and asks, did it hit you yet? And he hesitates like kinda. That evil god craved chaos, but he couldn't unleash it himself, so he hijacked demons and handed them his power. Yakagi insists their power has to be coming straight from this god, almost like the black aura from demons, because that evil god's protection is the real source. That skill isn't from this world, it breaks the rules of reality, like something from beyond the universe just slipped through. And there's just one person outside all this chaos. This deity is out here causing trouble, no questions asked. They proved his existence when demons unleashed this power. So Alshuna rose against the evil god, turning goddess worshippers into the evil god's enemies. Then Lefiel drops the bombshell: humans can't team up with demons because the goddess's blessing seals it. Yakagi figures do the damage, that's why his magic won't budge, and mages cast with elements linked to the goddess and the spirits. Thinking about all the hoops you've gotta jump through just to land magic that even works on demons gives me a migraine. Meanwhile, the girls are staring at the MC, totally curious and pressing him with the big question: who he really is. He rises like it's a stage moment, tells everyone to calm down for now, because nobody knows when those monsters might crawl back in again. Do the girls just go along with that? Then just a few hours later, our heroes throw themselves down under the stars, stargazing in awe. He's like, man, it's brutal seeing the stars up here is tough, and if I can't nail their directions, my strongest magic won't hit full power. He's debating if he can still throw area spells and fight like he always does, because wiping out a demon squad sounds totally doable. Yet even his strongest flame attacks get blunted by that demon aura, and now he's stuck wondering if it's really worth pushing on. Soon the boy drops his gaze and sees Lefield sauntered along like he owned the whole street. He's like, where in the world is she rushing off to at this hour? Everything feels super wrong, then he starts tailing her. He pushed a little deeper into the forest. Yakagi stomps on something, and it turns out to be a piece of clothing. That poor guy is totally panicking, and there are clothes sprawled everywhere. Oh man, you already know exactly where this is about to go. That boy was a full-on goofball. He pushes on and then boom, he spots something totally wild and jaw-dropping. Our guy tries to hold it together, pretending like nothing just blew up in his face. Then he spots the girls looking sick and clearly not doing okay. Right on her belly, there's this wild, strange mark. The MC takes one look and his stomach drops. There's no doubt about it, it's a curse. Feeling totally helpless, he can't stop asking why curses always target the good guys and stain women's bodies. Right after that, the boy dives into the water and swims straight up to her. He scoops her into a tight hug and blurts, "I'm sorry." He's pulling off some wild magic, then snaps, "Hang tight," because it's about to help her. A few hours later, they finally haul themselves out of the water, and right then, Yakagi blurts out, "Is this a curse?" Cornered with nowhere else to run, the girl blurts out that she's royal blood from Nocius, and that she carries a spirit lineage with insane spiritual power, trained from a kid to defend her country, carving her way through sword mastery and spirit power until she could wield it all. Then they were forced to brace the frontline fortress, but the demon army's brutal, unstoppable power smashed them into nothing. That army barreled in so fast that before anyone could evacuate, the demon horde swallowed their lands in seconds. Then they couldn't even send for hero backup, and their powers were completely useless against the demon army's crushing might. Basically, her whole crew was wiped out, the castle slammed shut for a final stand, yet she was cursed to stay alive because they couldn't let the spiritual power get erased. So she had to slam the brakes on her own fam and leave everyone who mattered behind. Right then, a witch's curse slammed down on her, right as the demon army came roaring in. Yakagi hears all of it and shoots, "So it's the same as that time I found you before, right?" She nods. "Yeah, I was asleep, then woke up, tried to get back to the hotel, and bam, I ran into you." And she tells him it only happens when she shoves her spiritual powers too hard, like that day she got a guild request to hunt monsters. She's tried to break that curse again and again, but even church priests can't crack it. Now she's terrified, whispering that it's punishment for someone like her. She couldn't save her kingdom, then her enemies sealed the deal with a curse, daring the world to name anything worse. Seeing it, our heroes instantly went silent. Then a wild idea strikes him hard. Reaching out, he touched the curse with his bare hand. He swears he'll crack it and figure out what's going on. Turns out it's not some natural curse at all. This thing is forcing people into actions, not the usual kind. If we're talking curse types, it's way messier than people think. There's no simple cure, no easy fix. Then the boy scrawls a glowing magic circle across her belly, chanting that his magic is cooling the curse's grip, and she should finally feel relief. Lafil gasps because she's way better. She's never managed to calm down this curse, not once. Yakagi's like, "I can weaken it for a bit, but if we don't take out the caster, it's over." He's groveling, apologizing for not doing more, but she's totally chill, telling him, "Thanks for everything, dude." Then Yakagi pulls her into a tight hug and they just stand there, vibing like the world can't touch them. Later, they're stuffing their faces, then Lafil blurts out like, "This hits harder than a math homework meltdown, so maybe we dunk it in water?" Yakagi's like, "Nope, it won't taste any better." And yeah, she feels weirdly off, but after all that chaos, who's really surprised? Then she blurts, "Why aren't you eating? You want me to go full Bear Grylls and hunt something for you?" Yakagi's like, "Nah, no stress, I've got this. I won't spill a single secret to anyone. He gets that she's bummed about earlier, but nobody can predict when those demon guys are gonna burst back in. So yeah, they're about to dive into some wild trouble. Right then boom, a terrifying noise rips through the air and this dude stumbles out of the forest, battered and bruised like a lawnmower just took him to war. Lethal storms in and he's completely lost. Everyone's grilling him like, what the hell happened? And he just blurts out. As they trekked through the forest toward the mountains, a demon ambush snapped into place, and monsters burst out of nowhere, attacking on the spot. No chill, Yagagi bursts in and slams healing magic on him, convinced this man must be from that caravan. And yeah, it's that same guy who was going at it with Lafil earlier. I don't know if she recognizes him, but her whole vibe is screaming, save him right now. Yakoji's healing light surged through him and he promised he'd give it his absolute best. And the wounds begin to mend, Lefil stunned while Yakagi just reacts like, yep, still not surprised. Nah, trust me, that's nowhere near enough. His body is fighting back and healing, but his soul is already scorched beyond saving, and no spell in the world can put it right. If things were different, maybe he'd have a shot at saving him, but this guy, he's completely out of luck. Lafil just sits there on his knees, totally powerless. And his final breath is all about his crew gearing up for a counterattack, so she blurts out, are there any survivors? But he's already clocked out. A tense silence slams down in the room. Then she snaps up to her feet, yeah, she's all set. Sorry, but I've got to rescue the merchant crew, no excuses. Yakagai's freaking out, what do you mean? We don't even know who's still alive. But Lefil leans in and goes, he said they're up in the mountains, so if I sprint, I might actually reach them. Yakagi snaps that this could be a trap, like they'd really just let someone walk out free. It reeks of a setup. But Lafil won't back down. She insists it's all her fault, and she's taking the blame for every bit of this mess. Yagag is like, no way, but she admits, if I hadn't hidden, the demon Rajas never would have gotten this far. He's saying going solo is basically a death wish, like you really wanna die. Lafil's like, so you want me to sit back and do nothing, like I did when I failed to save my country and my family. And you're telling me to grin like nothing hurts forever. Right as she's about to walk out, she grabs your attention and says, even if it was brief, you helped me a ton. Yakagi sat there in shock. How could someone be this amazing after everyone dismissed her and walked away? Wild as it is, she's got a promise she can't break, one her dad handed to her with trust, and she's got no room to gamble her life here. Then flashback hits, her dad choked out that he couldn't protect her mom. And if he ever had a choice, it was to be a wizard. Now he's handing the torch to the next one. He's gotta chase the association's dream, and if it's real, nobody gets left behind as unsavable. And in his final breath, he tells his son to save the ones everyone gave up on. So yeah, Yakagi puts it all together. Dad was right. I've gotta save the ones nobody else can. That day his dad had his back, and ever since, Yakagi's been flying solo, straight up turning into a lone wolf. All he could cling to was his dad's dream. But once a wizard latches onto a dream, he can't just wait, he's got to chase it to the end. Then the kid perks up because he hears something that makes the hairs on his neck stand up. And somehow that same soldier from before is still standing. Seriously, how is that even possible? Yakagi clocks the whole situation, and even if the guy got hit, his soul is untouchable. He's cooking up ways to rip that soul apart, but one thing's clear, no matter what he tries, this ride's going to be brutal. Boom, an explosion erupts, and that dude is gone like dust in the wind. A little while later, Yakogi strolled right through the woods like he owned the place. And it feels like a monster graveyard. And our guys are like, yep, Lafil did this for real, no doubt. Out of nowhere, a pack of monsters suddenly barrels toward him, and the kid just blasts them with lightning. He can't stop staring at these demons. Seriously, they look like they jumped straight out of a fantasy game. Wondering why a real-life wizard like him has to go toe-to-toe with these totally unreal creatures. No choice, he has to slam his defense magic into place right now. He slammed down another magic circle. Yakagi snaps a wind barrier into place, blasting the monsters clear into the distance. Watching the chaos erupt, Yagagi realizes more keep showing up, like nobody told them to stop showing up. But after tearing through the army, he never expected to stumble into these clueless monsters. But yeah, she's finally choosing to burn the past and walk away from it. Right now, she's clinging to one hope, figuring out how to send them back to their world, while the only thing she can do is push forward and save Lafil. Meanwhile, on the mountain's other side, the mine is churning straight through He ripped the sweeping demons away. She stares at the scene, jaw set, convinced she'll break in time. But then boom, her energy just gets wiped out of her like someone cut the power. She locks eyes with the MC and remembers everything. And right when she thinks she's safe, a demon creeps up right behind her. Lafil can barely hold her ground, and still she lunges forward with everything she's got. She digs in and tries to lock in her focus, because just a second ago, she was absolutely crushing it. She decides to lean on the MC and the good people for help because either way, there's no turning back now, so she grips herself and toughs it out. But when she turns to see what's ahead, it's all vanished. Her crew isn't around anymore, and she's scrambling to understand what's even happening. Suddenly, the demons clock her, and they come barreling in like a pack. Finally, Lafiel erupts with light magic, blasting it out like a sudden beam of hope. Praying they're still alive, still kicking. She leans over for one look, and there they are, soldiers still holding on, and she's buzzing because she made it just in time to back them up. But instead of saying thanks, the guy flips out, blaming her for everything like it's the ultimate backstab. Everybody's side-eyeing her like crazy, and that merchant guy is flat out claiming she destroyed his whole company. They demanded to know if she was truly happy and to stop pretending, but before she could even answer, they got attacked because she was right there. Lafiel tries to blurt out that he's wrong because she stumbled on an injured guy and in one breath spilled the entire story. But there's zero time to talk. Demons are swarming in nonstop. The girl begs them to get out fast, but those soldiers get obliterated, crushed to pieces right in front of her. Wherever they turn, it's demon chaos. There's nothing left to do, period. Lethal warns them if they quit, the whole game ends. But the other night he blamed her. And honestly, it's super suspicious how she shows up that fast. Meanwhile, Lafiel felt her power had her sprinting hard without leaving anyone behind, especially after she made sure the MC was cool. But no matter what, everyone keeps whipping their fingers at her. Suddenly, Demon Rajas bursts back into the scene again, saying she finally came back into the spotlight, demanding to know if her heart loved the little surprise he'd cooked up for her. He grabbed one of the humans, told her he figured she'd come if he dangled the bait, then admitted he never expected her to actually show up. Even trash can be useful. She watches what's happening, begs him to stop, but it's already far too late. That poor guy's already finished, like toast. Rajas leans in and asks if it doesn't feel like a total bummer, since all those guys who teamed up with her are basically going to meet the same fate. And once the adventurer heard it all, his suspicions snapped into certainty. Because yeah, it was totally her fault. The demon blurted everything out and they'd begged her to stay away. But now her whole crew is raising a toast to her doom. Calling her a murderer, dude, no one's giving her an inch. Out of nowhere, the demon bursts into laughter, calling humans total goofballs who always start pointing fingers the second things go south. So yeah, game over. Every demon barrels into the humans at once. Yep, there's no way they're surviving this. And Lafiel's just standing there, completely frozen in place, staring as it all explodes around her. But she refuses to give up. She's hunting for a way to save them. Yet those words keep slamming into her brain again and again. Her legs feel locked to the ground like they've been nailed there. And then one by one, more people are dropping like flies. She grits her teeth, drags herself forward, and slams down one of the demons. Lafayette dives in to help a girl in trouble. But the girl snaps that life would have been better if she'd never been born at all. The mage slams onto the ground, game over. And that demon roars with laughter like a complete clown. Rage lit a fire in him. Leafield barrels straight at the demon that's taunting her. Is that really all you've got? He flings her aside like she weighs nothing. She had to admit, man, challenging him again was the dumbest move ever, and in Nodius it was the same story. She scrambled to escape before death caught up. Still totally in the dark about what happened to the others. Basically, they didn't even get a break after death, they still asked. So, is it fun, huh? Because some people thought they were tough and then boom, they zipped right out before anyone could even blink. Some people swore she was a goddess until hope died and they turned around and spat curses at her, but it all lands on her because if she hadn't stepped in, they would have met a far worse end. Hearing it all, Lafield snaps into action and charges the demon once more, believing she won't go down right here. Then out of nowhere, the demon erupts in a terrifying scream and flings a black sphere like a curse straight into the world, betting she couldn't stop him and goading her to prove it. Boom, an earth-shaking explosion ripped through the area, and the girls were left totally rattled. But the demons are stunned. She's still standing like she won't quit. But it doesn't last quickly, it's over. And she buckles as that punch smashes straight into her gut. And the demon's just getting started. Keep smashing one hit after another. Lafiel hits the ground in no time. Bloodied and barely standing, Rajas lunges for his sword, then sneers at her, calling it pathetic, asking if she really wants to keep fighting after all of this. All that frantic sprinting just to pile up more bodies. And she couldn't rescue a single soul, not one. A flashback slams into her. She swears she tried to do everything the right way, yet somehow it all crashed down anyway. As the demon spoke, she admitted she couldn't save a soul, even as she stared at the sky like, then why am I still alive? Then the demon shrugs and cuts him down. He's not the one who will finish her, because she's meant to fall the same way as those who died for her. A screaming horde of demons barrels toward her and Lafiel just gives in like she's accepting fate the second it crashes in. Then boom, an absolutely massive explosion detonates out of nowhere. Rajas, completely stunned, blurts out, "Who's there?" "Bro, the MC showed up right at the last second. Like pure destiny, my dude." He's fumbling out an apology for being late and she's instantly baffled, demanding to know what he's even doing here. The moment the demon sees this, he locks in the memory this is the mage who tangled with him before, and he snarls, asking if a fellow like him can actually reach that place with all the armies he's been throwing around. Yukagi claims he found them, but they were totally useless, while the demon smirks like he's got this, convinced Yukagi tried to bolt, only for rotten luck to shove him right back in front of him. Or maybe that guy was so clueless he tried to save that woman anyway. With full confidence, our hero leans in and asks, "So what would you do if this was the only option left?" Seeing this, Lafiel froze in pure shock, his mind racing. What the hell was he even doing here? The demon erupts in laughter, sneers that he's a fool, and demands to know, "Are you really serious? And if it's even worth saving a woman like her, someone who couldn't protect a single thing and loved her own life so much she bolted the moment danger hit." Wanting to know if it's truly worth it, Yukagi doesn't even hesitate. He's doing it, no questions, no turning back. This is his road and he's not backing down, that's why he's standing here. Hearing that, the demon blinked in shock. Who in the world has dreams that wild? But no matter what, he still couldn't stand the guy's attitude. So yeah, he's about to prove right to his face that this way of acting is straight up insane. Rajas barrels straight at the MC. Then he snaps open a magic circle and fires back like a madman, dude. The battle exploded into chaos. Sparks tore through the air like lightning in every direction. The demon gets launched, straight up yeeted way across the battlefield. And just like that, Yukagi realizes it's all he's got, so he mocks Raj's power as weak sauce, while Lafiel stares in disbelief, still blown away. Our guy shows up like, "Can you stand?" Because he's got a power plan ready for her, and once they lock in, they're taking that dude down together. But Lafiel's not buying the hype at all. Yukagi shoots off some healing magic to help, and Lafiel just shuts it down like, "Nah, it won't do a thing." She's convinced this is it, like the universe just slammed the door shut and they're done for. Rajas is ridiculously op, so even if they all team up, they still stand no chance against him. Our guy's like, "Let's see what happens, how would we know?" And she fires back, "Duh, I already know." She knows he's op for real, because even the kingdom of Nocius's soldiers couldn't touch him, and now that he's here, their fate's been sealed. They're trapped in absolute disaster, and no matter how hard they try, there's no way out. Hearing that, our hero freezes for a second, then shoots her a quick question. Are you really okay with that? Because whatever's about to happen next could be the exact answer she's been waiting for. But the poor girl has already given up, and there's nothing left she can do. Yukagi suddenly reaches up and pats her head, tells her, "I understand," then turns his eyes to the real problem. He's got a whole demon to deal with now. Things are about to get seriously spicy. Lafiel fires off the question, wondering what he's plotting because she can't believe he'd try to take this demon head on. Yukagi's totally got this. There's no way she doesn't make it work. But now that she's given up, he has to fight tooth and nail to find a way to save her. Then she drops the truth. Unhappy people will always be out there, everywhere, no exceptions. Trying to save them, that dream's dead on arrival. No way it ever happens. Yukagi stares at her and says, no matter what happens, he has to prove he can save them. Lafield claims hope always gets shattered and all that's left is despair, but Yukagi snaps, then I'm seeing it for myself, because he refuses to stop until he looks past this whole mess. Inside his mind, he begs her to see it, watch him pull her hope back from the dark. Suddenly crack, the earth splits, boom, and the demons are back, and yeah, it's really going down. Yukagi is all hyped up. He blurts that the demon flew off way past, then the demon starts ranting like crazy and Yukagi snaps, shut up and zip it. When he starts setting up yet another black sphere, Lafiel snaps too. She thinks it's finally game over. She gasped, sure she'd burned through every last drop of her spirit power, because if they ate another hit like that, it was game over. But our hero refuses to quit. He's still charging forward. And in a final desperate Hail Mary, he hurls down a whole storm of giant magic circles. That scene is insane. Those spells are blasting across the entire sky like the heavens are breaking open. The demon is losing his mind and he can't believe his eyes. This is actually happening. The MC leans in and asks, "Do you really think I can pull off all of this?" warning him not to underestimate his power. The spell he cast is built from the military bases of the parallel world, so when he hears that, the demon finally clicks what's going on because the guy ahead of him is the real deal hero. The boy plays dumb and snaps, "You've got the wrong guy," like he's trying to dodge someone's whole identity. But it doesn't matter, he draws both swords. He blasts the demon with a non-stop storm of attacks, and La Phil just stands there, frozen in complete shock. I can't believe anyone can fight like that. Stuck in her own head, she can't stop replaying every move she's made so far, realizing it was too late to regret quitting. Suddenly, Yakagi gets hurled aside like she doesn't even matter, and he tells her to scoot back a little so she doesn't end up getting caught in the crossfire. The kid digs in and refuses to budge, standing guard and taking hits to protect the girl, who demands to know why he's been dragging everyone through all of this. He keeps telling her over and over again. In the end, he didn't hesitate, he rushed in to protect her. With that, Lefil finally rallies the strength to rise, then pleads with her goddess for courage. She lifts her sword, channels spirit magic once more, and vows she won't flee, she'll fight for what she chooses. Raja demands what this power even is, and she grins. It's the goddess's crew, and the spirit's strength will wipe out every last demon. Hearing that, the monster's rage erupts, and it barrels straight at the girl. And the funniest part, she straight up stops the attack cold, saying she's not the same girl from before anymore. She figures she can slip past every move, then catches him with a clean hit anyway. But the monster's still standing there like, no way, this power is real, refusing to lose. Out of nowhere, Lafil slips in behind him and slams him with another brutal hit. She has no idea where it's coming from, but she's yanking power out of thin air just to take on that demon. As she lunges in for the final crushing blow, Raja starts backing out, muttering that they'll settle this fight another day. Yeah, there's no way she's letting him get away. She fires off spirit magic to fry him, but it still isn't strong enough. She's thinking, if I don't stop him right now, this is gonna repeat again, right back to the same nightmare. If she just had a little more power, she'd tear through everything and do so much more. Meanwhile, our MC is posted up in the background, calm as can be, just chilling while everything unfolds, gearing up for yet another brutal attack. A demon is up in the skies, getting battered hard because a storm just slammed into the world. He's convinced he'll never forget this brutal human humiliation, and once he's healed, he's coming for revenge for real. His jaw drops, every last army has been annihilated. Bet it was our boy who just pulled that off. Suddenly, lights explode everywhere, and the guy realizes in a flash exactly what's going on. Yakagi bursts in out of nowhere and declares, "You're not getting away, I'm stopping you." Right as the MC is caught off guard, a massive girl suddenly rockets into the scene from behind, stepping in to help with everything. To crank up a massive magic circle, that demon is convinced that guy has to be. He has to be the hero, protected by epic divine power over the elements. But for a human, even with this magic, it's practically unmanageable, like it keeps slipping away, leaving everyone to wonder what the boy really is. The attack slams into him right on the mark, and Rajas is finally finished. Meanwhile, Lafili watched from the sidelines, practically shouting, "Our boy is absolutely incredible." Right then, the kid crumpled onto the ground, wiped out so badly everyone already figured he couldn't move. He snapped, then wiped out the entire demon army with every last drop of magic he had. Anyway, he was insanely lucky, because he didn't even manage to. He expects that sacred magic will actually shred demons, because yeah, even monsters like him can have a weakness like that. The sacred move is called *break*, and it lets him unleash ** saint power * straight up. But to tap into this power, you've gotta have real spirituality in your bones, and you can't rush it. It takes serious prep time. Still, he's buzzing. Rajas couldn't handle that sacred magic at all. Sure, it's not how he sees it, but compared to Rajas, the Demon King has way more evil god energy, and the other demon generals might be insanely stronger too, so he's got to come up with a real plan or he's toast. Right after that, Lafil finally arrives, breathless, thanking the MC who saved the moment then, who snaps back that he can't take that offer because truth is he hesitated to chase her while she just stands there watching him fall short. All this against her who? She charged in without a second thought, and because she gave it everything she had, he can't help but think she's genuinely incredible. So she doesn't have to blame herself, and once Lefil hears that, the tears just burst out of her as she sobs. That kid is seriously a good person. The moment he said he was rushing there to save her, her face lit up like fireworks, pure, unstoppable happiness. That's why she had to turn back and thank him, no hesitation, no delays. Thanks to him, she found the courage to face her fear head-on ***, to fight with everything he's got, and he won't ever quit, not matter what hits him. And in that moment, Yagagi suddenly recalls what he said back then, like his own words were proof he was only thinking, "I'm gonna die here." He threw out an apology because that line wasn't even his. It was borrowed from someone else. Back then, a dude with unreal strength had leaned in and told him that. LaFille tells him to just let the world guide him and meet someone good, but the MC snaps right over her, saying Guy was literally nothing but a bad influence. Suddenly, LaFille bursts into a coughing fit. Yakagi shoots her a hard, piercing glare. And out of nowhere, the girl collapses in on herself. "Dude, this is unreal," LaFille snaps, "what's going on?" And Yakagi tells him he's the one who should be asking that question. She fires back, "Is this the first time?" And she answers with total certainty, "Yeah, obviously it is." Yakagi even wonders if it's that annoying demon Rajas, but he shuts that down fast. This doesn't look like a real curse, so he tries to think it through, then realizes he's completely out of magic juice. But he remembers one thing: LaFille looked completely drained, like her energy was already gone. Maybe it's because she didn't have enough spirit energy, so she pulled back, worried that pouring too much of it through her would make her shrink like a balloon losing air. But she swears that back then, no matter how hard she pushed her powers, nothing, absolutely nothing, ever shifted. Yakagi is convinced she's half human, half spirit, like some kind of magical smoothie brewed by fate. To face the demon Rajas, she gulped down a mountain of spiritual energy, and that's exactly why she suddenly shrank. With her magic running dry, she won't be able to hold her real form for long. Hearing all of it, those poor girls go, "What the heck?" and immediately trip over absolutely nothing. She's pinned to the ground, completely helpless. The MC jumps in to help, but right after that, bam, he collapses and passes out, totally drained. He just wanted to catch a quick nap before jumping back in to fix everything. After all that chaos, 10 days vanish in a blink, and Yakogi, convinced he's reached the entrance, pushes closer to a city, only to realize it's way bigger than Madel's kingdom. After everything, they somehow scraped their way down the mountain and rolled into Krantz City, supplies loaded up, and now they finally get to breathe and chill for a bit. Then LaFille suddenly shows up and offers to carry his sword, insisting it looks way too heavy for one person. Yakag is like, nah, because in her current form, she'd totally drop it right on her own foot. She blurts out an apology for leaning on him again, and for the way her outfit's gotten her attention. Yakagi tells her, "If you're worried about little things like that, you must be feeling better," then flips the mood. "So, do you like the dress I picked?" And suddenly, she's stuck remembering how the store folks treated her like she was just a kid. Yakagi leaned in and asked if it looked weird, then just grinned and said, "Nah, it actually looks pretty cool." As he watches her, he's convinced she's secretly thrilled inside, even if she never lets it show. But 10 long days have dragged by, and she still hasn't snapped back to her real self. Then she blurts out that Yakage's world is pure chaos, and you can see the shock hit her when she learns he got summoned out of that wild place. Still armed with all that power, she stares him down and asks, "So you're really the hero meant to save the day, or are you just messing around?" Yakagi fires back, saying that monster isn't even close to as epic as she thinks, and he's not about to brag about beating something like that. Then LaFille snaps that there's no way a mage can survive that kind of power. The MC's level is sky high, and our guys are basically trapped with nowhere to run, right? Yakagi is saying she might be right, but if his dad were here, that whole escape problem would vanish in seconds. His dad would have sent that monster flying with one punch, stand up, fire off an electric move, and zap it like it's nothing at all. His dad could totally pull it off. He's ridiculously strong, like it's effortless. Yagagi still has no clue why his dad pushed him so brutally hard, and now it's too late to ask. Yakagi's dad is gone, and the trail he left is exactly what Yakagi's chasing. And yeah, he's already dreaming of becoming a mage so powerful his dad would look back and be proud. A little later, the MCs roam through the capital, curious and buzzing, trying to imagine what the Empire of Nephilia is really like. He's clocked a bunch of wild differences, way more people, and tons of awesome stuff like Estelle just doesn't even compare. She claims it's a country with real heavyweight power behind it. It rose from the ashes of past wars, when beaten countries stopped fighting each other and banded together. But the real reason everything kicks off is the hero summoning ceremony. Yakagi demands to know what in the world a hero has to do with human wars. And she starts telling you this: ages ago, a little country snapped into a dictatorship, then launched war on its neighbors, and countless innocent people got crushed in the fallout. Everyone started begging for a hero, and then bam, he crashes in. One wild sword swing and that fight is over instantly, powered by pure insane force. Yakoga's jaw drops. He straight up claims the hero is basically a weapon, and LaField fires back that the hero's summoning is just their way of proving they can take on enemy nations head-on. And yeah, the beef with those enemies never really died. 2 years ago, Estelle and Shardak went to war, and in the end, Estelle's kingdom absolutely crushed them, all because of the princess's legendary moves. Yakoga's jaw drops when he hears about this girl, and LaField just nods like, yeah, she's been slammed lately. Our guy's scratching his head like, whoa, I never thought she'd end up on the battlefield. But yeah, she's a full-on warrior, so it makes sense she kept it from him and played it cool. Then boom, the Capitol Gate guard shows up in a flash, demanding they fill out the ASAP form. A few minutes later, the guy flipping through those papers goes, these letters are a total mess, and the girls just shrug like, nah, we're good, everything's fine. They finally got hit with those cough-up taxes and tolls, and LaField pulled her aside to ask if she could fill out the form all on her own. Princess or not, I'm done. Don't you dare treat me like some kid. She orders the MC to do something, and he just freezes there, totally clueless, like he has no idea how to help. Meanwhile, the guards burst into laughter, so the girls have energy, huh? And you're their guardian, that must be brutal. He's constantly running into these wannabe adults, while he's got a younger sister of his own. Hearing that, Laffel's like, no way out. She twists the whole thing around and declares she still has some dignity left. She lunges for the table, desperate to get her signature down. But she's just too short, and man, poor girl doesn't stand a chance. The guard shoves a chair into her hands, and Lafiel is barely holding in bursts of giggles. So tell me, what else is she even supposed to do? Suddenly, Yakagi perks up, there's a loud commotion, and the soldiers look totally baffled. Then bam, another girl suddenly bursts into the scene. Turns out she's a lieutenant, so she walks up to the guards and tells them to chill. And Yakoga's like, wait, she's in the army. Lafiel just stands there, frozen, completely blown away by how ridiculously stunning that woman is. It's seriously wild she's in the army, and she somehow still looks like that. The lieutenant snaps his attention to Lafiel's comment, suddenly clocking her, and thinking she's far too young for the brutal life of the army. But the woman snaps back instantly, refusing to let some kid talk like he knows anything. Now it's on, this girl's totally flustered, insisting she's not a kid at all. And the lieutenants shout duel time, while Lafiel fires up Lafiel's game. Their eyes snap into lockstep, and neither of them looks away. The MC steps in to stop it, but she's locked in, no way is she letting this slip away. They surge forward, charging into the moment, eyeing each other's chests like they're measuring destiny, and the winners finally make it clear. Yakojas lurk on the sidelines, silently trying to figure out what they're about to do, already sizing up who's got the bigger ones. Lafiel can't process it, dignity slips away, and everything falls apart as she watches herself get totally wrecked. Believing her true form would flip the whole fight, she pushed forward, and when the lieutenant heard her, he froze mid-step. But he snaps at her to quit dreaming and drag herself into reality. Minutes later, Lafiel finally throws in the towel, and the lieutenant snaps the MC over, like the real fight is about to begin. She looked confused and asked if he'd been kicked out of some clan, and our heroes shot back fast, claiming he's from the east, and that kid is just a friend's daughter. The lieutenant can't help wondering, did he come from Estelle or somewhere even farther east? Yakagi just couldn't shake the weird, off-kilter feeling crawling up his skin. Glaring like a storm hit, wondering why she suddenly went full intensity. She demands, why are you even here, Yagaki? And the guards shoot back, hey, chill out please. Out of nowhere, the wild girl snaps and shoves the guard aside, snarling that he needs to stay out of it. She's dead serious. Shock and disbelief hit Yakaki's hard, and Lafiel snaps, what's wrong with you? The fiery lieutenant barks for her to shut up, but the princess fires back, what does she even get out of more bloodshed? She can't trust the Empire one bit, and she's stuck wondering who's been poisoning everyone's mind. They were just sticking to the city's entry rules, demanding proof that any wrongdoing had actually happened. She's talked up the Imperial Army's honesty, then she zeroes in on the bigger question, are her choices really not shameful? The lieutenants got crushed in the argument, praying they wouldn't try any sketchy moves against the Empire. Yakagi blurts, what if we do? And then she stares them down like a loaded gun, saying she'll take them out herself, no jokes. Then she bounces forward and Yakagi's like, whoa, she's seriously terrifying. And just to make it wilder, the lieutenant hears it too and marches right back toward our main guy. He warned her, say that name again, and she'll haul him straight to the Imperial Court. Yikes, just a few minutes later, the lieutenant comes flying back, and Yakagi feels like he narrowly dodged a bullet. Even before he set foot in the city, a nasty vibe was already crawling under his skin. Lafiel suddenly gets that light bulb realization. She swears she's seen her before, Liliana, and then it clicks harder. Her dad is Rogue, one of the Seven Swords, the Empire's top magic heavy hitter. Yakuga's mind is blown, but that creepy vibe still has him wired and ready to snap. The Coast Guard tells them to keep it calm and avoid trouble, but come on, this is the final checkpoint, and he's demanding they stay put until the coast is completely clear. While everyone in the Kingdom of Estelle is buzzing, a summoned hero named Reiji is stealing the spotlight. This guy S got the wild nickname, the Conqueror of Elements ****. From way back here, our boy's head is spinning. Reiji just grabbed a legendary title like it was nothing. The chatter keeps rolling and Peeps like, we have zero idea how he led Estelle's troops against the demon army. But somehow he already crushed a guy named Rajas. Absolutely mind-blowing, especially since he just got summoned and still pulled off something this epic. The moment she clocks the scene, the girl whips her gaze to the MC like, what the heck is going on here? Then bam, a flashback from a few days back hits and Reiji stares around like he just saw the impossible. The kids were right there where the MC was. And right now, a full-blown demon party is raging. Staring at the wreckage, the boy can't help it. Who in the world had the guts to pull this off? Suddenly, the knight swoops in, boxing Reiji in from every, and grilling him like they're digging up the truth about who he really is. But then someone steps in and barks, back off, and reminds them they should already know exactly who this guy is. Every knight is thrown into a panic, and then, boom, the princess barrels in on horseback like a thunderclap. The girl snaps that he's the summoned hero, then warns she won't cut them any slack just because they're too clueless to realize what's happening. Everybody's oops is just bad news. Reiji, completely lost, blurts out what on earth they're doing here. Then the rest of the squad arrives, and Mizuki lights up because they finally snagged some horses and caught up to him. Hearing that, the princess shoots back, so you're the troop stationed in Krant. And before anyone can even blink, every knight slams to one knee, were Duke Adrius men on his orders. When Reiji heard that name, smoke practically poured out of him, because he was sure this guy was spreading lies about the MC being the hero. Right then, an old man on a horse rolls up, and it's Duke Hadrius himself. Reiji is throwing him the death stare, fighting to keep his cool. Mizuki clocks the chaos and mutters that he's making this seriously weird face. Then Reiji scrambles to calm down, realizing he has zero clue what he's supposed to do. But even so, he still can't grill that guy there, because if they sniff out that Gregory spilled the beans to him, the hero's spot could get yanked fast. Soon, Hadrius blurts that their last meet was months ago and asks if she's only there to catch some breeze, but the girl shuts him down fast, saying she doesn't want him stressing over stuff like that. Of course, Hadrius claims she's still as fierce as ever. Then Ongrigi declares, this is it, the summoned hero. They burst in fast, and all they could find was a gruesome trail of monster carnage. Asking if Reiji was behind it, he just laughs, nah, I just got here. So now everyone's desperate to know who actually pulled this off. Right then, Mizuki snaps into action, scanning the area like crazy and catching tons of magical traces left behind. And on top of that, Yakage's magic circle still left behind a spark of magic power. But of course, she's completely clueless, because the spell used is insanely advanced, maybe so new it's never been seen before. So she's just staring like, how the heck did anyone pull off something this insane? Because a sick, unstoppable burst of power crashes through and wipes every last demon clean off the map. Far off, Hadrius reckoned there had to be more than 10,000 demons there, so the game plan was to plant 1,000 soldiers at every single spot. But that meant if Madel's kingdom or Krantz got hit, they'd be wiped out. That's when the princess demanded, so what do you know about what happened? And the old man just shook his head. Not a thing, even if there was something we'd never know. A week ago we had that brutal storm, maybe that's when all those demons got zapped clean out of existence. All because the bishop from the Church of Salvation swore the goddess was losing her mind. Mizuki's like, maybe that goddess just poofed the demons away. But the church goes, nah, if she already did it, why would we even get summoned? Anyway, she just hopes the MC stays calm and doesn't flip. And bam, demons crash the party. Hold up, did Yakagi already deal with this? That old dude flips the switch and goes full battle mode, rallying his squad like a born leader. Suddenly, Mizuki gets yanked into the demon's grip, Reiji lunges to save her, and then boom, flames erupt everywhere. They scramble to figure out the magic's true ID. And yeah, da Felminias. Long time no see, girl, where have you been? Reiji's got it, yo, what's up? And she's like, forget everything else, we're hitting these demons first. The old guy S feeling like a total boss, so he barks orders at the mage squads and they unleash attacks with straight up epic moves. So yeah, problem crushed, and Felminia's like, it's been ages. Good thing I swung by. Right then, Hadrios blurts, wait, did you really get benched from your royal mage job? But she's like, nope, this is a secret mission from the king. Reiji's freaking out, thinking the king sent them to rescue him, but Reiji snaps back, "Bro, this was always coming. That poor girl can't spill a single truth because a curse clamps her mouth shut, so she just keeps bouncing along, trapped in silence." Right then, a soldier suddenly bursts in with explosive news. The Empire's third princess, Graciela, just crossed the border with her entire squad. She tore through Krant like a bullet, and now she's coming straight here with pure, no-nonsense attitude. What the heck is going on anymore? The girl strides up on that horse like she owns the whole road. And Mizuki, completely baffled, blurts out, "So what happens next?" Then Titania casually lets it slip. She's the third princess of Nephalia, and that means she's sitting on the Empire's most powerful earth magic. So when Graciela blurts, "Long time no see," it hits like a reunion with serious stakes. Then the princess snaps, "Even if you're buds, you don't just cross borders without a heads up." And Graciela fires back, "If that's the rule, then she can apologize too and tell me, would she really do what she's doing right now?" Right out of nowhere, a hulking demon army crashes the scene, and because her empire's been left on read, they're not exactly relaxing. The demon attack was already planned, but it hit early, so they scrambled, grabbed their gear, and geared up for war. So yeah, when your buddy's in trouble, you don't hesitate. You march up to the princess and ask what she wants, and she says, "Make it official." Graciela shrugs like, "Go on, handle it," but she reminds you, they've got the Sardius Union and the Assembly Council in their corner. She shoots Regaya look like, "No battle scars," and you realize in his old world, nobody ever taught him how to fight. When she hears that, Titania rockets in and blurts, "Did I cross the line?" Because to her, that boy is the hero, while Graciela just blurts the truth like she can't help herself. Suddenly, Fulminia feels it. Something's moving, and it changes everything. And Duke Hadrios thinks it's a survivor. But Reiji can feel it in his bones too. This has to be someone ridiculously strong. Through the swirling smoke, a figure shoots up from the haze. And boom, it's that demon again, still throwing down. Reiji watches the monsters beat them up, fires off, "Who are you?" And the answer hits like thunder. Rajas, one of the big bad generals. Hearing that, Hadrios snaps, "So you're not one of the toughest demons?" But the second he says it, the demon looks totally wiped out. Want to know what really went down? The creature loses it and snaps, "Zip it." At this pace, there's no way he's letting them breathe, so he's hunting for a way to wipe them out. But Reiji's like, "Hold up, stop the moment, I gotta ask you something." The demon can't stop wondering who he truly is. And he just blurts out, "Why are you attacking humans?" That demon's mission is simple: wipe out the leftover humans, no questions asked. Because those stubborn little survivors keep crawling back like annoying bugs, and their same old, predictable ways are driving him insane. Hearing that, Reiji snaps, asking if humans and demons aren't both living beings. So why in the world are they killing each other over something that's stupid? Don't claim they can't make peace just because they come from different species. And when Rajas finally spots the sitch, he fires off the question, "So, are you the hero of the day?" Reiji goes dead silent, and Rajas gets the message, thinking it's just some childish talk. But listen, if this is what it takes to help him pull off his mission, then maybe he'll finally figure out how to rip the hero's head clean off. Once the chat ends, they explode into a full-on brawl, fists flying instantly. And Reiji's fighting tooth and nail, barely holding it together. The demon, wearing that smug grin like armor, can't help but wonder, so this is the so-called big, bad hero. He stares at the power like it's a joke, baffled that anyone ever feared demons in the first place, and honestly, his own crew is acting downright ridiculous for being scared of him. Out of nowhere, Duke Adria rockets in and snatches the kid to safety. With a vicious swing of his sword, he unleashes moves that finally clash with Demon Rajas and actually land. Right then, Graziella bursts in like she owns the moment, and starts throwing her spell immediately. She hurls wild crystals and freezes in shock when they actually snap into action, turning the demon's power against them. Cornered with no choice, Rajas lashes his power and smashes together a massive black sphere. Right there, boom, someone snatches Reiji, and it's Titania grinning as she says she got a bounce for a bit. Meanwhile, the demon is totally losing it, screaming that he's running on fumes with only a sliver of energy left. Thanks to that MC's lightning, the demon gets blasted again and again by even more attacks. With the Duke leading the charge, a squad of mages is backing him up, and they're only piling on the chaos, making that demon's situation even worse. Titania realizes every punch just bounces off. The monster is insanely tough and nothing even scratches it. Duke Adrius leans in and commands them to keep grinding, no excuses. Reiji pushes to help and says a direct hit is the way. Then the princess snaps her gaze over and checks if Mizuki's alright. Wait, who's that, just standing there like she's only watching? She's always getting rescued by everyone else, while she sits back and does absolutely nothing. But she can't keep going, caught in that non-stop panic. What if she can't actually do anything at all? Then it hits her, she remembers that ice spell she learned, believing it could actually work. She strides right up to the demon. She shoots her hand up and launches into the spell like a flash of lightning. The demon, out of options, blurts, "What are you doing?" and starts shaking like her worst nightmare just stepped in front of her. When Rajas is about to smash her, he rips the stop away at the last second, *he f***g. He's still feeling the brutal side effects from his showdown with the MC. Right then, Reiji clocks the opening and pounces on it, going straight for the demon. He drives in a brutal, clean strike, and the demon is in shock, stunned that they actually beat him. The creature slams into the ground and, with his final breath, he spits, "If it wasn't for that mage I battled, I'd have never fallen to this trash." Spotting her opening, Filminia wastes no time and presses Rajas. "Who did you go up against?" Refusing to back down, the demon stalks the truth and demands, "Tell me, do you know that person?" Reiji rushes in to shield his master, but Filminia shuts him down. There's no need, because that creature is nearly finished. Meanwhile, lightning kept scorching the demon's body over and over until it finally struck him down. The creature plummets out of the sky, crashing down hard, and Reiji is still trying to process the fact that the fight is over. Even after she wipes out, Mizuki blurts out an apology. She wanted to help, but one wrong move could have wrecked everything. Still, she's convinced she can actually make a difference. Without wasting a second, Hadrius orders every mage to regroup and whip everyone into shape for the patrols to begin. He dials Filminia and presses, "Do you know who that demon was talking about?" She doesn't even hesitate, she blurts yes, and Graciela, burning with curiosity, immediately demands, "Who is it?" And it's obvious Filminia refuses to spill the beans because this is a state secret, and they're not about to tell a foreign leader a single word. Still, Gradiella keeps pushing, insisting they're talking about a dude who wiped out an entire demon army all by himself. Anyone with half a brain would know this is huge, yet she still refuses to say a word. And still, Filminia stays locked in silence, not a single word slips out, because this is straight from the king. Switching gears, Hadrius starts talking about the battle and tells them, "Just say Hero Reiji beat the demon." The kids immediately snap back, "Yeah, right, wasn't him." And Hadrius snaps that they can't pin it on some mystery stranger, because just naming an unknown culprit would freak everyone out. And right then, Graciela shoots in, demanding, "Do you remember we fought that demon together?" But the old man promises he'll fix everything, like he totally forgot his army stormed into her land without a single word. "So you're saying that's why she flipped the battalion on the king's orders?" They lock eyes right there and the whole world goes silent. And once she realizes there's no escape plan left, she straight up throws in the towel. Filminia hears the princess say she expected a bigger mess, then bam, it all gets cleaned up in the end, and she watches that old guy stroll away like, "Yep, this dude is seriously sketchy." A few days later, back in Krant City, the boy slips into the old man's room, pacing his thoughts around Lord Hadrius, the noble lord with a colossal estate sitting in Krant. With sheer power, deep resources, and a war-ready army at his back, not a single noble dares to stand against him. Then the old man shoots Rigi a nod and asks how that city welcome back bash went. Rigi admits he was blown away, but his face falls because he still feels awful he didn't crush the demon using his own skills. Hadrius just shot back that the heroes were thriving, easing everyone's fears of a demon invasion, and telling him to take pride in it all. Then Reiji snaps into a new gear and demands why he was summoned, and the old man just smiles and says he wants to talk about some things. But Reiji straight up tells you he's got nothing to gain from a friendly chat with him. Right then, Hadrius snaps, asking why he agreed to take down the demons, and Rigi fires back without missing a beat. He's doing it to save the people here, even if he's got no ties to them at all and won't gain a thing. Reiji snaps, asking why he's even bringing this up, but the old man brushes it off like it's nothing, then admits he's just curious about Reiji's noble mindset. When asked how his world measures up, Reiji grins and says his place is way more advanced, though it still has a little magic floating in the air. Soon after, Hadrius blurts that 100 years back, nothing ever shifted, everyone clung to the same routine until the end finally came. In a land of non-stop squabbles, progress was just a fantasy because rulers cycled through like a revolving door, until the people finally snapped and realized they'd never reach anything if they kept living that way. Mentioning the goddess makes it feel like this place is her personal playground. Reiji hears that and snaps back. His world had non-stop clashes with the same crew, so he asks, "Isn't peace supposed to be the better option?" And Hadrius fires back, asking if lasting peace really isn't just another word for being dead, and straight up what he claims can't happen. Rigi realizes that from here on out, he's got a swarm of enemies to deal with, other humans included, and he can't help but ask, Was that whole chat with the demon Rajas a waste? But the old man snorts, insisting it was the total opposite. Honestly, it felt like a massive breath of relief because back where he came from, stuff like this wasn't just move on. Back then, asking questions, thinking things through, and trying to change the game were treated like real weapons, but here, his enemies are demons that only know one thing: brawl. So yeah, that whole question was basically useless, yet it still pushed him to do it. So Ryuji presses him for what the hero is truly after in this fight, but he just shrugs, he doesn't care, and he wants nothing back. Then the old man fires off one prize after another, from status to prestige, basically asking, "You really don't want any of that?" And Reiji doesn't even hesitate. He snaps that he's not fighting for something like that. When he hears that, Duke Adrius instantly feels crushed and tells the hero, "Go to the Empire." Princess Graciella's fighting has been getting way too shaky, so they're ready to slap a temporary safe spot on the table, but the kid's not buying it because none of this is his job. His only mission is to take down the Demon King, Encastra. The Duke understands that, sure, but he still wants the boy in his corner. And his showing up here means he straight up stalled his trip for Gregory's sake. Gregory spilled everything, and once Ryuji hears it, the pieces click, so he fires off the big question: is someone threatening him? The old man tells Gregory he didn't technically snap a military rule, but everyone will still judge him hard, because moves like that don't exactly earn trust. Our boy fires off a furious "I'm still saying this," even after using his own friend as bait, and Hadrius snaps back that he only lost one so millions could live. So they decide to park the chat about his friend for later because the search just started and they still don't know if he's alive, meaning all they can say is that his whereabouts are a mystery. But yeah, it sure sounds like he's gone, and hearing that, rage erupts and demands to know if he feels zero guilt about his death. Hadrius tells him, "If I say I did it, will you just leave me alone?" But even so, that guy's luck is absolutely rotten. And honestly, he felt sick the second he got tangled up with people he had no business being near. Hearing that, Ryuji's stress detonates, then he barrels straight at Hadrius. But Hadrius shuts it down like he's done it 1,000 times. Reiji's jaw hits the floor because this guy is blocking the hero's divine power with one hand. Mind blown, Hadrius drops some truth. Focus is everything, and this isn't even close to the Demon King's level, so it's grind time. Level up, grab those XP points, and power up both your body and your soul. With no other choice left, the kids shrug and go, "Alright, I'll go knock on the Empire." But Gregory and fam are off limits, no touching, no getting close. As for the MC, he's sworn to his promise. He'll hunt the guy down with the focus of a detective on a mission. That old guy's totally cool with it. He just shrugs and says the hero's gonna come through big time later. A few minutes later, Reiji bounces back like he's got sparks in his feet. And the old guy just keeps staring like he's glued to a live-action movie. He growls that the goddess's plans are on the DL, and wherever Reiji goes, it turns into Corruption City. Fast forward to Nephalia's royal capital, where the whole city buzzes like it knows something huge is about to happen. The MC hears the tea and just can't wrap his head around it. He left Reiji to handle all that chaos by himself. Le feels like, relax, it's just traveler gossip, but Yakuig is beating himself up because he never checked if he actually that demon. Still, Lefil figures Raj's almost RIP is close enough. She can't stop thinking about what would have happened if Reiji's squad hadn't taken the demon on first, because even with those hero buffs, surviving it still wasn't guaranteed. Yakuig is like, no big deal, like it's nothing at. He just blurts out if she's sweating over some oracle's words. All the girls, obviously, freaked out the moment the church dropped that prophecy bomb on her. Yakovgi tells her, if you're not feeling Goddess Elshuna's messages, stop guessing, just go ask her straight out. Lethal nods right away, saying, since I've got goddess blessings, blowing them off would be a huge no-no. Yakog is like, what if I actually asked the goddess for power? And the girl basically says, yeah, you could. Yakog is thinking she should just team up with Ryuji, but that's not happening. And if she dodges the goddess instead, who knows what kind of chaos could blow up. But the MC stays calm, telling her he'll handle what he can, because if she won't go, then he has to step up and take her place. Lethal lunges to stop him, but he waves it off like, relax, I'm not into this goddess nonsense. And then he shrugs, saying most mages act like they can conquer the whole world by themselves. Lafel tells her, hey, the goddess might get salty, but Yakagi doesn't even blink, because divinities aren't allowed to meddle in the world, and if they could've, they'd have pulled that stunt centuries ago. If some evil god rolls up acting like he owns the world, Yakagi's ready to square up and throw hands. After all that talking, Lefil turns around and gratefully thanks him. And the MCs are still stuck, replaying every word the church sister said. Almost a month ago, people started dropping into comas, some sketchy magic or some shady human behind it. They still haven't caught the culprit, but if it doesn't get in his way, he couldn't care less. A few minutes later, our heroes tour through the capital, hunting down a library like it was their next lifeline. He scans the whole scene and bam, the twist hits, but he's completely lost. He wrestles with the idea of casting magic, then suddenly, he overhears whispers from the crowd. The moment he hears their voices, it clicks. He remembers her from the capital's gate. That other guy keeps pushing her to deal with it, and she snaps back, "Stop bothering me." With no other choice left, the guy squares up and starts getting rough. "So you're telling me they didn't warn you? The girls love it when I'm a top-tier swordswoman, right?" Two guys go pale, stare at her size, and then start ripping into her, because they can't believe what they're seeing for a kid. Yakagi watches from afar, already convinced she's got real skills. But it's not his job to step in, and still, he can't bring himself to ignore that kid. A kid rockets straight into the chaos, throwing himself right into the fight. Everybody's like, "What's he doing?" And Yakagi, acting all smooth, fires back, "Why are you picking on some kid?" Meanwhile, sub-lieutenants start whispering like, "What's the main character even doing?" He figures he's not meant to step in, so he tells him to scram and leave him alone. Seeing our boys, she snaps, "Have we met before?" And he grins, "Yeah, we had a showdown not long ago." The girl finally realizes who Yakagi is, but before she can even breathe, the other two are closing in to start a full-blown showdown. Yakagi, eyes as wide as saucers, can't believe it. Are they really about to throw down right in the middle of the city? The sub-lieutenant just shrugs at him like it's nothing, then barks, "Scram, pronto," and that's when the whole chaos starts making sense. Right then, the mage lunges straight for the girl, but she twists out of the magic like it's nothing at all. The other dude, stunned, blurts that girl would wreck them in a fight, acting like Colonel Rogue whipped up some genius weapon. Then the sub-lieutenant snaps back that they're way too cocky to swing an attack like that. Man, they pushed her way past the line, and the MC just watched from a distance like he couldn't believe it. You can feel the tension here, nothing like the guard's room at all. Without wasting a second, one of the other mages lunges to hit back. But Yakagi snaps her fingers and whips a magic circle into existence, yanking the guy's magic right out of his hands. He's totally baffled and Yakagi's just like, "Relax, I only borrowed a little, no big deal." That fool pulls the same stunt again, thinking it'll work this time. But Yakagi suddenly bursts up right in front of him. He slammed a brutal, solid hit right into his chest. They're down one and the MC, barely speaking a word, promises he'll deal with the rest, but the next guy is already knocked out cold. Yakoji even caught him off guard. She wiped that guy out, then instantly switched gears and asked if she could bounce. A few minutes later, they're strolling and Yakagi hits her with the question, "So how'd you start that fight?" But Liliana snaps back, "None of your business," dodging the whole thing while grilling him instead. Then Yakagi shrugs and says he was just exploring, asking if her name's Liliana. Hearing that, the girls froze, because she had no memory of spilling her name at all. Then Yakagi flips the script, saying he's hunting the Great Library, the Empire's biggest prize. He demands where it is, dangling a treat like a bribe, and she snaps back at him, until they bicker their way out of it, and she finally agrees to lead the MC there. As Yakagi strolls along, she shoots her a quick glance, convinced she doesn't look like trouble at all. Right after he fires off the question about what she's doing in a place like that, he assumes she's just swept up in the chaos, until she straightens him out. She's patrolling because the capital is falling apart and there aren't enough people to keep up with all the incidents. Because she refused to rope anyone else in, she grabbed the problem and took it on by herself. Hearing that, Yakagi can't shake the thought, could those coma incidents have happened right here in this very place? But the girl snaps right back. She fires another question and straight up asks if he's scared of her. Yakagi blurts, "Why would I be?" And she shrugs, admitting she threatened him, but she keeps talking like it didn't even happen. Honestly, most people would never let it go, so why does Yakagi feel different? He says it's totally normal to get jittery when someone's intimidating you, especially when your opponent's younger too. But even with all that, he admits what he's doing right now feels absolutely unhinged. Out there, but yeah, he knows she's seriously pissed now. But the military craves this exact vibe because they're drilled to obey the command from the top. And when she hears that, the sub-lieutenant blurts that her fighting style is all about striking fear into the enemy. But Yakagi calls her bluff instantly, because she's spent forever terrifying everyone just to stay safe, always braced like she's expecting a strike. Facing the enemy, she holds her ground back and peeks around like she did in the guard's room. Liliana pushes for answers, and Yakagi shrugs it off with nothing but a hunch. Wondering why she looks ready to explode into a fight, and whether it really felt like she was surrounded by enemies. The girl watches the kids play, and suddenly her voice drops to silence. Then she declares, "I'm a soldier," and he snaps back, "I'm just a civilian," and the second Yakagi hears it, he smiles like, "Got it. I figured we could talk more casually, before quickly apologizing for stepping out of line. Then Liliana leans in and blurts out, "What's your name?" Then the main character steps up and introduces himself. The girl jolts in surprise and blurts, "That's a weird name," and right then a voice suddenly calls her name, right in the middle of everything. When he blurts out what she's doing there, the girl whips around, and the second she clocks who it is, shock hits her hard. Man, buckle up, this ride is gonna be insane. Now, real quick, somebody tell me the answer, old timers. And Liliana's like, "Relax, I'm just running a little detective work," while our boy's freaking out like, "Hold up, didn't she say she was on patrol already?" Then the man snaps, "Just do what I tell you, no extra moves. And if it's not military business, don't touch it." The girl just nods like it's nothing, no questions at all. Then the old guy snaps, "All right, so what's your deal and what's going on with that dude?" He's eyeing the guy like something's off, like he's not really from the royal capital, and Yakagi just shrugs, "Nope, I literally just arrived." The old man grumbles that the imperial capital feels sketchy as hell right now, so don't go wandering around alone. Just go straight, then yank a left, boom, there's the library. He's like, the boys are stoked to find it, and the old man wastes zero time telling the girl, "Bounce." Yakagi leans in and peeks at her, like she's trying to catch the thought forming in real time. Dude, I totally forgot to grab the sweet treat I promised you." A few minutes later, the boys were tearing through the city, and then, boom, they finally spotted the epic library. Bro, this place is huge, like a real castle. The kid plunges headfirst into a sea of books and instantly forgets what time even is. Night falls and the MCs wipe the floor, only to realize they've blown past the plan, so if he doesn't sprint back fast, Leffel's gonna lose it. Then bam, every light in the city dies, he jerks his head up, and just like that the moon is gone, vanished as if someone snapped their fingers. He's convinced it's some spell, but in this place, nobody has a clue about that kind of wizardry. Somebody probably cooked up a weird light-sucking device, at least that's his guess. Then boom, a panicked guy rushes in, begging for help. Yakuga's like, "What's the deal with you?" And suddenly the guys are all closing in on me. Right out of nowhere, a shadowy figure materializes out of thin air. And Yakugi's mind raced. Could this be the coma culprit right here? In the blink of an eye, that figure disappears, just like that. Switching gears, "Yo, why are you tailing me, dude? What's the deal?" The man regains his cool and snaps, "Arguing with a commoner is pointless." Man, he straight up tossed the MC aside after draining him dry, didn't he? So he's like, why is that shadow hunting this old man? And he figures it bilayed because there was a witness watching the whole thing. Then our hero rips out a scream, and just like that, Fulminia crashes into the scene. She shoots forward and wraps her arms around the MC in a tight hug, saying it's been ages since they last saw each other. Later, they're strolling into Yachagi's and one of them shoots back, "So what brings you here?" She tells him she stormed into the Empire hunting for him, but somehow she got trapped in a total weird maze of a place. Fulminia's all like, "Come on, was it that awful to see you? I just wanted to help." And Yakagi goes, "Nah, seriously, it's cool now." Then he blurts out, "So what's your job now?" And she cracks that she got kicked off her royal court mage duties. Yakagi goes wide-eyed, convinced it was just some harmless fooling by the old man, until Fulminia snaps back that the king sent her to help him. Yakagi's side-eyeing it hard, because if the king already knows he's a mage, then it sure looks like Fulminia's circling him for his magic skills. But nah, she's way too sweet to do something like that to the poor thing. Hours later, the MC storms into the inn with Fulminia right beside him, and fires off questions about the little girl. Yakagi brings her in, drops the bomb that she summoned him, and calls out the truth. Fulminia, the former royal court mage, then reveals she even tracked down Maddle just to help him. They greet each other and Fulmini's jaw drops when he hears the MC's buddy, who casually mentions all the weird stuff that's been going down. Fulmini goes, "Hey, I'm Fulmini, nice to meet you, and seriously, thanks for letting me crash here." Leffel is totally clueless as Yakagi casually drops the bombshell about some free rooms, until the girls' hopes completely crash because they believed they'd actually be released, and then the MC calls Fulminia, starts saying Minia, and locks it down by picking her room. Laffel's like, "Wait, what the hell are you doing?" Wondering if she ever lets him talk like that, Yakagi just goes, "Yeah, why?" The poor girl spirals harder and blurts out, "From now on, call me Leaf." Out of nowhere, Fulminia bursts in, demanding to know whether Yakogi has ever heard of the demon Rajas. The dude's totally unsure, like he's one bad sign away from spiraling. But a few minutes later, he blurts out every juicy detail, then he straight up asks, "Did you take down Rajas?" And the girls go, "Yep, Ryuji landed the final hit." The wildest part, Right after that, lightning starts blasting out of him, and just like that, poof, he disappears. Yakagi figured it had to be leftover magic from the spell he cast. He can't believe that demon held out for a whole week. Still, that's just how this race goes, and yeah, something's gonna come back to bite him and turn into a headache later. And then boom, those demons flooded in because they mistook him for the hero, but Felminia didn't even wait to breathe. She just fires off, "I'm sorry for the people of Estelle." Then Yakagi blurts out, sorry for dragging Lefiel into this mess, because if she hadn't ended up with those merchants, none of this would have started. Yet the girls shoot back, not your fault. And right away, Yakagi and Rajas have to square up anyway. Then Yakagi's stepping in to make sure Duca Drews gets every bit of what he's owed. And oh, wait. Felminia slams a book down on the table. Yakagi leans in, guessing it's about that hero summoning ceremony, and presses her, "Where'd you even find it?" She swore it felt ice cold in the castle's library while she was sorting papers. Then she grabbed it. Yakagi asks if it'll help, and yeah, he says he can use it as a reference. Then he just stares at the book for a second. And Lefiel looks like she's about to burst with something she can't hold back. Yakagi grills him about whether his hype to return to his world is real, and he just smirks like, duh, yeah, absolutely. Man, you can tell they're bummed the moment they hear it, and honestly, it was so painfully obvious. Right? And for this guy, the entire quest is basically chasing that exact thing. 2 days rocket by, and in the guild hall, an attendant tells them the info was shipped straight to the Isle branch. What a hit about the merchant crew, but at least they got everyone through safe. Yakagi was all apologies, throwing out thanks, and he even bowed to Lefiel for the delay. So yeah, he's dying to know what happens next, and then boom. Just then, another guy barges in like, yo, real quick, can I get a sec? And the fancy one snaps back, name's Elliot. I'm a hero, dripping with that arrogant, self-obsessed energy. Yakagi's jaw drops at what that guy just says, then he swears he's carrying the goddess Alshuna's message. And he trekked from way across the map just to meet Lefiel, then asked her straight up if he could finally say her name. The girl throws out her name, and before Lee can even blink, the dude yanks her clothes and barks that she's coming with him, because the oracle said so. Obviously, the MC is going to jump in and ask if they can talk for a minute first. Elliot goes, yo, Yakagi, right, you're her buddy. And he demands to know if this guy's really the hero. But Lefiel barrels in, swears he matches the oracle's description, no question about it, he's the hero matey needs. Yakagi's still on edge then, out of nowhere, a girl appears and declares she's Krista, the Church of Salvation's magical priestess. Saying there's no doubt Elliot is the hero, and matey can vouch for it. The shiny dude leans in and asks if Yakagi's convinced, and Yakagi fires back that yeah, because he's the hero, obviously. But Lefiel wasn't settling, she wanted to know what happens if she doesn't want to go, and Elliot shot back, too late, it's decided. Lefiel, you're going with me. And hey, don't stress over it, when the goddess commands, you just follow. But Yakagi shrugs it off like it's all just his talk. That dude insists he can't be wrong because he's delivering a divine message meant for humanity, and he's so full of himself it's ridiculous. Meanwhile, the MC's like, is this all in your head? And he starts doubting, even as the goddess somehow trusts him that much. Christ's getting furious, he snaps that they're right in front of the hero, and Elliot presses him hard. So, are you really planning to defy the goddess Alshuna? Poor Lefiel can't even process it, and Felminia asks if they're really just brushing off their own suffering. Then Krista snaps back. They didn't take it seriously, so demons ripped through the kingdom of Nocius, and while everyone was sulking, Estelle was getting invaded. Felmini's got this totally chill vibe, and Lefiel isn't even breaking a sweat. Going solo stays perfectly within the rules. Meanwhile, the other heroes leaned in and went, yo, what's your name, girl? Felminia's brain goes, whoa, this girl's got insane magic skills. And she asks if you want to tag along, but Yakagi's like, wait, is this so-called hero seriously acting clueless? I'm clocking the MC's whole vibe, no way we're rocking with him if he's sitting there thinking he might have to leave his squad behind for the greater good, and honestly, that cocky attitude is wild. Yakagi's patience is snapping, he's 1 second away from throwing hands with that kid, but then he shuts it down hard. He's not got the authority to do anything about it. Elliot started scrambling for excuses, swearing it was all for the world's good. But Yakagi had already locked in his choice like, nah, whatever. Christ is throwing fuel on the fire, insisting the dude is outright defying the goddess's orders. Everybody hears her, and the crowd immediately starts roasting Yakagi. Yakagi finally snapped, calling them out for playing dumb, warning them to brace themselves because he's about to do something wild. He's basically saying if you're living right, you wouldn't get smug in front of goddess-level danger and then ask if you're in the wrong. He's basically saying if you want to roll with me, you'll have to go through me first, so show some respect, yo. The kids, frozen in shock, then blurted, "Are you really challenging our hero?" And Yakoga's like, "You bet your life." He flips the conversation and fires off a question to Lafiel. Does she feel the weight of the goddess's message? She says nothing, and he immediately clocks it. She understands. The MCs are like, yeah, sure, but nah, because they still don't buy a word of it. He's locked in, swearing he'll shield them from every last bit of this chaos. The heroes had no choice, beat him right there in front of everyone, or they'd never get them to join. Yakogi just stands there, scratching their head like, why are they totally ignoring the big stuff? They're groveling at invisible forces, blaming the weak like it's their fault, marching to divine orders on autopilot, while they brush off everyone's suffering But Yakogi was like, nah, it's all good, seriously, I'm fine with it. Elliot called him up to settle it like, meet me, throw down right now. Even if a hero blocks my path, I'm smashing right through. Elliot warned you, don't even try to roll with my crew. He's busy boasting he's a sword and magic prodigy, and on top of that, he claims he's a hero blessed by divine grace, but Yachiji just shrugs like, cool story, I don't care. Because they're not feeling it, this story has one outcome. Yeah, you already know exactly what happens next. The fight erupts, hero auras flare to life, and the other guys were like, yo, why do my legs feel like they're made of bricks? Yakoga's jaw dropped at the kids holding up the sign, but down here, there's zero mercy. Meanwhile, the girls step in like, I got you, will back you up. He's chanting a spell, whoa, it's 2 against 1. Krista unleashes lightning, and the MC casually slams it right back like it's nothing. Elliot barrels straight at Yakogi, and Yakogi can't believe how fast this hero just came at him. Then bam, somebody jumps in, and the nuns just lose it. This fight feels pointless, doesn't it? She's like, I'm Clarissa from the Church of Salvation, and then boom, she drops a divine message from the goddess. Turns out both sides need to stop squabbling over Laffel, because the real prize is the shadow wrecking the capital, and whoever snatches it first gets the final win. Everybody's stunned, and Laffel just blurts out. The heroes can't stop staring at that shadow, and the nuns whisper that it might be creeping around the coma cases. Heroes drop to the ground, staring at the MC like, alright, what are you gonna do? And someone fires back, wait, you're not tied to Goddess Alsuna, right? But if it means less drama later, he's totally in, let's do it. Whoa, plot twist, he throws those boys around, and I'm not gonna lie, his wording is a mess, but at least it's settled. Looking back, he blurted out, yo, are you really Yakogi? Because I'll never, ever forget it. A few minutes later, Yakogi's leaning in, chatting with that nun like it's totally normal, and he's still stunned, because he never imagined she'd just barge into their conversation like, where did she even come from? She brings it up, turns out they didn't talk much at all, and she wishes they'd gotten the chance to chat way sooner. The girl says it got kinda messy, so what's the deal with Yakogi's divine message? Then the nun scoots closer, drops her voice to a whisper, and claims it was just a tiny fib. If she hadn't, one of those heroes would have been hit with the ultimate wave of total embarrassment. Yakogi's all, is it really cool to lie about divine stuff? And what, you're not even with the Church of Salvation? The nun snaps, and when she says she's serving Goddess Alshuna, you can tell none of it is as clear as you think and not everything checks out. It's so easy to fall in with the MC, watching him crash through chaos, fighting tooth and nail for what matters and thinking, okay, that's seriously badass. Telling him the boys really do have good hearts and to cling to those feelings, no matter what. Then bam, the scene flips, Laffel rushes in to apologize for Felminia getting dragged into all this, but Felminia shakes it off like, don't sweat it, we just have to win this. Meanwhile, Yakogi digs deeper and deeper into his thoughts. And they ask what's going on and he just snaps back, how are we supposed to win? Felminia is already mapping out her intel plan and Yakogi blurts, you got this. Because sure, she's all confident, but she warns him that the real enemy isn't a random foe, it's the hero everyone's counting on to save the day. Hearing that, Laffel's itching to grab intel too, until Yakog cuts her off like, nah, I've got another mission lined up for you. And yeah, it's for you, and it's all about cats. Yo, wait, this is getting crazy, and I mean cats levels of wild. Next day, Yakogi prowls through the capital like he owns the streets. He was hunting for the exact moment he spotted that hooded guy. He spotted that tunic, and it was way too small for him. But he's swinging at people to knock them out, sending everyone into full panic, while the cops barely act because the suspect is just a kid. Meanwhile, a crowd starts piling in and some guys spot her and go, that girl's a walking weapon. Yakogi finally spots Liliana and the whole place erupts, screaming that she's a monster. Seriously, cut the girl some slack, but Yakogi's not letting it slide, so he storms over to say hey, and she's completely stunned. Blasting, why does he keep showing up everywhere? like it's a mystery nobody can solve. Yakagi goes, wait, those are the same guys, and she shoots back, yeah, they still didn't learn last time. Meanwhile, everyone's buzzing with gossip about the MC, swearing he still doesn't get it, she's a human weapon. Everyone fears her like she's dangerous, but they don't realize she's just doing what she's always done. Then Yaeki realizes the whole crowd is turning on her and she thinks, maybe I should be nicer since I'm army. But the girl doesn't even blink as she snaps, scram, and sends everyone scattering. It's all because there's nothing to watch, so she turns to go, right when the moment hits. The MC rushes to stop her even as the whole crowd hurls insults at her, yet she just fires back like, just think, let it go, because they've always called magic prodigies freaks. So yeah, they've got to bounce to dodge the stink eye, but Yakig is like, whoa, wait, you've got a nasty neck wound and it's closing in fast. He fires off his magic and seals her wounds shut. With all of this happening, Liliana can't help but ask, why are you being so nice? Because deep down, he knows it'd be way easier if he just acted like everyone else. But when the kids heard it, confusion hit them hard, and they demanded to know why he even had to. So the girl stares the MC down, eyes locked on him. He sees that, then he blurts out, we should go. The MC goes, yo, next time, let's hunt down some sweets. And she's like, do whatever you want. At least she didn't shut it down right. A little later, that mysterious crew finally rolls in. The other hooded guys nodded like, yeah, let's smash into that alley. And right there, they spot a stray cat, just staring at them like it knows everything. They whip their heads around and there it is, another cat staring back at them. And a little farther down the road, you'll spot an old guy who looks completely wrecked. And then this hooded dude drops into a spell, like he's about to turn the whole world upside down. And boom, he just face planted straight out cold. Right out of nowhere, someone else suddenly bursts into the alley and snaps. Even with the cat squad, we still rolled in fashionably late. Of course, our MC plays it ice cold and tells the hooded guy it's been ages since he last saw him. They're stunned like, whoa, it's you, and they instantly recognize him. They seize the opening and spring forward, right as Felmini's about to break into the chase. Yakagi goes, hold up, let's handle that old guy first. Then he snaps the plan into motion and fires off the same question to another hooded stranger. Are they the mastermind behind all this chaos? Suddenly, he rockets forward and crashes into the hooded guy, and the two of them start trading punches fast and furious. Yakagi can't stop wondering about that spell. And the girl snaps that it's dark magic, real, nasty, and totally super op. Then Yakagi snaps his own spell into action, blasting wind magic straight out like a furious gust. The girl thinks it's a sword, then her eyes widen like, wait, what is this? She clocks it instantly. Yakagi keeps flashing these wild magic tricks she's never seen in her life. And somehow, she slams the brakes on the MC's magic and wipes it clean. Right as she's about to unleash another dark spell, Yakagi snaps into action and throws up a magic circle that wipes hers out mid-cast, leaving the girls completely baffled, while Yakagi shrugs and says it's just a few magic law tricks because she has no idea what she's even doing. Dude, they totally pushed the kid too far. He starts blasting out magic circles like crazy. And yeah, things are about to get wild. The hooded guy's eyes widen, turns out it's a double enchantment, but screw it, he's charging in anyway. He barrels straight at the MC, swearing it's all for the greater good, trying to crash one clean punch in. Yakagi dodges and snaps back with a lightning-fast counter-attack right on the money. A massive magic circle blooms behind them as the hooded figure barely slips out of the sword's reach. But oh no, way worse is about to land. He gets slammed by a full-powered flame attack. And even sprawled on the ground, completely wrecked, he refuses to quit. He's still trying to cast another spell. Fulminia staring at it like it's pure death. This place is insanely dangerous. Right before everything crashes, the MC scrambles to cast a defense spell, barely in time. But his magic just isn't powerful enough. And right as the moment detonates, he swallows the impact. A nasty black aura crawls over our hero's arm and he blurts out, can you even control it that much? Meanwhile, the hooded figure clearly knows our MC, staring like they've got history. So why are they hunting them for a full-on showdown? Without wasting a second, Fulminia barrels in to help Yakagi, realizing he just ate the whole hit of that dark magic. The boy pokes around, then snaps that he got way too cocky, and when he rolls up his sleeve, he blurts, I never thought it would punch through your defense. So yeah, if he doesn't move right now, his arm's going to rot because his body is wrecked, healing magic won't help, and his left hand is basically out of commission for a while. Right then the guards burst in, racing in to save that old dude before it's too late. A few minutes later, Felminia spills every last detail of the drama. Meanwhile, the MC just goes stone cold quiet, acting like none of it even happened, and somehow, they actually managed to untangle the whole mess. Then out of nowhere, a man barges in and blurts that he heard someone dared the hero to back it up. So yeah, he never in a million years expected Yakagi to be the one. Our boy remembers that dude from earlier, the one who's always saying stuff like, "Rogue is the Imperial Army's comms colonel, and yep, we've seen him before, now he's pushing to get that secret out of him. What really went down there?" Meanwhile, Liliana hangs high above, watching the whole chaos unfold like she's judging the battlefield from the sky. And someone leans in, demanding to know where she's been. Needing to know if she's on the same page, she tells him, based on what she heard, that she's got it covered. And when the old man asks what she thinks about the military police, Liliana just snaps that nothing's changed. Even though she's been digging into everything, it honestly feels like she's chasing a wild goose. He scans the scene and the guy thinks, that could totally work for me, because he's sure those two are the real troublemakers behind all this chaos. When Liliana hears it, her mind snaps. So the nobles are bullying that colonel, she thinks, because a commoner colonel would have already racked up enemies like crazy. The noble who just got attacked? Yeah, that's one of them now, and if this keeps spiraling, it's about to turn into full-on chaos. And the colonel had no connection to her at all, yet he still chose to take her in. Then he yells for the girl and presses her for what she's really seeing in the MC. So you know that dude, I'm trying to get the real scoop on him. Turns out he'd already clashed with the woman behind these incidents. She told him she met Yakagi during her investigation. Liliana goes, "Wait, so does that mean he's guilty?" The old guy shakes his head and says no, but it still gnaws at him. The girl just nods, "Got it," and then he says, "Don't worry, I've got this, I'll take care of everything." Later, the MC sprawls on a bench, lost in his head, replaying every detail of the magic he just snagged. A couple days later, he storms into the library only to find zero sign of Nada in the books, not a single peep in the reports. And he's like, so what kind of enchantment is swallowing this whole mystery? Trying to crack those words, the scene snaps away. Yakagi just grins and says, "Don't stress, the books are totally readable." Felmini is like the hero's summoning ceremony just flips a spell into action on its own, and it starts speaking in a language shaped by the summoner's smarts. She shifts the topic and tells him, dark magic users, almost no one knows their history. And she doesn't have a clue what any of those words even mean, because none of it connects to her. Even with everything I know from my world, Yagagi's got me stumped. This mystery is pointing straight to some next-level power. The kid bursts into unstoppable laughter, and honestly, this is straight-up epic. When everything turns impossible, you've got to jump into the unknown and grind your way through the unknown. This guy is a full-on mad scientist, and he's dead set on cracking the dark magic code. Right then, bam, somebody appears, and it's like they already knew we'd cross paths again. He clocks the librarian, and she's all, "Call me Lomayani." He asks if Yachiji's library got bound today. Yachiji slams it with a nah, then immediately hits another question about his work. The elf calls a break, yanks out his lunchbox like it's a treasure, and asks, "Wanna try?" Yakagi's instantly hooked, wondering if every forest elf is just like him. He blurts, "Nope, there are different kinds," and then he shoots a question. Is Yakagi stuck? And Yakogi's like, "Yeah, I found something weird." Then the elf offers to help, but Yakogi snaps back, "No, there's nothing in my records for what I need." An elf scans the papers and freezes, because he spots Yakogi slipping into a dark magic quest. Yakagi's jaw drops. "Wait, how'd you know?" The guy grins and goes, "I'm a librarian." He leans in and warns you this isn't for the average Joe. "So tell me, what's your angle?" Then Yakagi flashes his black arm and grins. It's all about that. The elf's froze in shock. "Can I check it out?" And then it hit. He'd once messed around with witch doctor tricks, and when he pressed the MC's arm, he stared like it was a miracle at how perfectly balanced it was. You did it yourself? Even with magic that powerful, it didn't wreck him from the inside, so how the heck did that happen? Yakagi blurts that it all started because those troublemakers keep bugging the capital. Then the elf gasps, "Wait, you're going after those clowns?" The kids are like, "Yeah, everything went down, and I'm not stopping until I catch the culprit." The elf even heard a rumor about someone trying to take on the hero, and she's dead sure it's Yakagi. He shoots a warning in your face, "Don't you dare go down there. Only crazy people dare take that path, outsiders get crushed, and the culprits unleashed dark magic, so this mission was wildly dangerous." Yakagi yanked the magic off his arm, but if it sat a little higher, he'd be nothing but ash, and yet Yakagi goes all in anyway because my friend's future is on the line. Elves cherish life like it's sacred, but the Yakogas, they've got huge plans burning in their heads. Switching gears, the elf drills down on what that hooded guy said, because it all points straight to Bon Mei. It's ancient, cursed from the moment it was born, dripping with dark magic. Those magic words vanished, but they were the spark that supercharged dark magic's power. Those dark magic words hit like a cheat code, way stronger than regular magic. The casters unleashed pure, broken power, and even with 9 lives, they still couldn't survive it. Still, this kid's on fire, he's not slowing down, and he wants to keep pushing forward. The elf realizes stopping him is a lost cause. Yo, don't ever sleep on this, dark magic reeks of pure danger and bad vibes. So the elf bounces out, and our main dudes just take off like they're out of there. Mine was completely shattered by everything he just heard. Then out of nowhere, an entire squad of cats crashes in and totally freaks the kid out. Meanwhile, someone saunters in and freezes, utterly stunned. Liliana finally bursts in, and the whole room feels it. Yakagi clocks her instantly and goes, "So you're here for the sweets I promised?" But nope, she's trembling with shyness and only has one mission, the cat. Plot twist, right? Yakagi shoves the little furball into her arms and bam, she transforms like someone flipped a switch and she's brand new. Seeing her smile and feeling my heart flip, he hands over one of his ice creams. So why not go all in? He shifts gears and fires off, "So how long you been lurking?" And she shoots back, "Not long, I've just been waiting to hand off my cat." Yakoga's like, "Hold up, wait, is that cat even yours?" Then he clocks them all, just lounging around on the streets like they own the place. Liliana totally misreads him, assumes he's some catnapper, and fires off a joke about dragging him into military court. Like, dude, whoa, chill. A few minutes later, they finally squash the cat chaos, then flop down on a bench with ice cream and just relax. Liliana drops a juicy rumor. He's been challenging the hero to chase down the bad guy himself. Yakagi shook her head like, "I've got questions," because she couldn't shake the feeling, why in the world would he do that? He says it's because he wanted to ride with his crew, and she just snaps back like, "Then let the hero take it from here." Yakaga's like, "If you loved your family, wouldn't you do the same to protect them?" Liliana's like, "Nah, no way, this is just my boss, not my dad." Turns out her own real parents tossed her aside, and yeah, it's a gut punch. Sorry to interrupt, but Yakaga's all like, "Anyway, she's cool." Then she totally sidesteps it and straight up calls him weird. She keeps asking herself why he's always so calm around her, like everyone's terrified of her, except him and the colonel. Yakagi's like, "Whoa, that's brutal," and she hits back with like, "For real. It's my gig, what can I say?" He leans in and asks if she's really happy with her life, and she snaps back, "If I quit my place, it's all gone." Yakuga is completely thrown off, like she can't believe what she's seeing, convinced she's dealing with some kid. He's completely lost on what her life is even about. Then out of nowhere, a cat appears, she reaches out to pet it, and in a blink it tears straight through her clothes. Turns out she's got those black spots too, and she panics then bolts right out of there. Yakagi stands there silent, just watching it all unfold. Then out of nowhere, that mysterious hooded figure bursts into the capital. She's a girl who feels totally stranded, chasing the shadow like it's her will, yet she's still wildly confused and drowning in loneliness. She can't stop panicking that he'll see her as a monster. For the first time, somebody finally treated her like a normal person. No colonel, no special treatment, just her. He strolled past a house like he didn't know trouble was waiting. She rips off her eye patch and stares herself down, like she's inspecting every detail in the mirror. Just imagine if anyone caught her like this, people would freak out, and even her parents couldn't handle it. Then this black cat slinks in, and you can just feel that something's terribly wrong. Suddenly, bam, a whole cat army shows up and she just blurts, "Wait, what is even happening?" She's totally thrown off like someone's yanking their strings, and then that familiar presence hits her, and she realizes exactly who it is. It's the MC, saying they finally managed to meet again. He's crushed by what he did, regrets squandering her advice, and blurts out, "So, you're Liliana, right?" She's baffled how he even guessed, and he shrugs like, "I just had a hunch." She presses him like, "Why are you doing this?" Because going after civilians isn't cool, but Liliana just cuts her off, saying, "My reasons are mine, back off." Then boom, an explosion rips through the air, and the MCs are like, "Guess I'll have to dig that info out the hard way." Without so much as a beat, Liliana snaps out dark magic and Yakoga's like, "Yo, can I borrow that power?" Liliana snaps back, "Come on, you can't just sling it around and you don't get to boss me." In her mind, she's begging, "Just back off, stop trying to be my hero." So if he messes with her plans, she might have to, take him out. Yagagi just freezes, staring, thinking, he's not my enemy and he's not a noble, so why waste the effort? She yanks her spell to stop, but Yagagi's like, Bro, nah, don't even try that. Dark magic coils around the MC and he just stands there completely still, sending chills down everyone's spine. As she screams the chant, the darkness bubble swallows our hero whole. Oops. Liliana blurts, "Is it over?" like her magic's the goat, because the target starts swirling into pure shadow. And even the MC can't keep up with that. Right out of nowhere, she breaks down in tears, blurting out that she just wants to talk and maybe, just maybe, crack a joke. Then crack, the darkness splits open and Yakagi bursts out like a jump scare with a grin. Whoa, he just tore through the whole situation with one brutal punch, like he owned the place. Glancing over, I swear, heroes stepped into the scene like they were unleashing something, and that spell just got completely busted. Liliana's jaw drops, she can't believe it. What did you do? He leans in and goes, "No full moon today, so my defense is up." So the moon goddess's magic is already swinging into action. Wait, there's actually a goddess for that. Liliana's never even heard of it, and Yakagi's like, yeah, that's rare as hell in mage battles, probably some next level power from another universe, right? If it wasn't, then there was no chance in hell to pull off this power. Then he pivots and asks Liliana straight up, does she really understand what her magic is all about? But she doesn't waste a second, she barrels in with fresh darkness attacks, striking Yakagi again before he can even breathe. But now he's moving like a ninja, slipping past everything before it even hits him. He tries to talk her down, but he claims darkness magic isn't real at all. It's a curse forged from pure hatred that this world spews straight into the soul. Seriously, this is the kind of thing you do not mess with. Only the ones drowning in hate can wield it. Liliana's like, so you're telling me I'm all about that hate life? And the MCs be like, right, tell me, ain't that the truth? Her hands are wrecked, biting corrosion from hate and raw resentment. So yeah, that eye patch is probably her way of surviving the damage. He talks about her powers, something no human should ever even graze, and Liliana snaps back that she needs that magic, while Yakagi warns, that power will rip you apart. It's not over yet, she can seal it and patch herself up, but if she hesitates, she'll turn into the very thing she ends up regretting. Liliana snaps and screams that she already knows it. Using the magic will swallow her in darkness and get her totally lost, but she shrugs like that's his problem to deal with. Yakagi snapped, "You're dead wrong, mage or not, this route is a total no-go," because the rest was really him just poking his nose where it didn't belong. Liliana snaps that without magic she can't even fight, and the Colonel won't need her anyway. She never minded becoming a human weapon, until the Colonel slid her a real place to belong. Yakagi leans in and demands she figure out what she truly wants. But she shrugs it off and says, if fighting is all I've got, then that's what I'm sticking with. Darkness crashes in, and his control slips away for good. Uh-oh, buckle up, this is where it gets real. The MCs are like, don't you dare take that road, turn back now. Liliana snaps at him to back off, because the darkness is swallowing the air, getting thicker by the second. But Yakagi keeps hammering the air with light magic, call after call. He wipes the spell clean. He pulls her into a tight hug, and when she's shocked enough to breathe, she blurts out what he did, because he could have died. Yeah, so he's apologizing for everything, and our guys are like, whatever, it's fine, but we still gotta square up with that leftover darkness, right? Peeking into the scene right now, can you believe what's going on? Yakagi feels that brutal bad energy hit him, and right then, boom, everything is suddenly off. It's like a sinister blob of dark energy, bubbling with menace. These eerie spirits are lurking everywhere, and you can feel them closing in. Alright MCs, back up right now, they're closing in fast. I've got zero clue what that thing even is. But bet Yakagi's crew is about to throw down right. That's where our video ends. If you like it, smash that like button. If you loved it, hit that like button for me right now. Alright, I'll catch you next time.